Playoffs. We talking playoffs today, boys. Strap in. It's going to be a good one. Birds of a feather. Pete, your boy Chucks. Let's go.
Let's go. This ain't the Fox Tyson force. This game can heat steak.
Oh shit!
It's gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. It's Birds of a Feather on A2D Radio, brought to you by Fan Up, the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, which is a $50 value. We are live, guys, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, wherever you download podcasts. And if you're listening to us on your morning commute or wherever, we thank you for your support. It's your boy Chucks. It's your boy Pete to my left. What's going on, brother?
Cooling, man. Just happy to be here another day. Close to kickoff, man. Wild card weekend. It's about to get wild and crazy. I think I don't think I've ever seen you. Well, you've been more. I think you've been excited for sure. But when you text me, there's like, tonight's going to be an epic show. And I'm like, we're not doing anything special. Like, is there something I don't know about? It's just like, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a great one. I mean, we're talking about playoffs. I think me and you, one of the more subdued people here at the company. I don't know if we expected this, but we are in the playoffs. And we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to break down the Eagles-Buccaneers matchup this Sunday, 1 o'clock. And then we're also in the second quarter of the show. We're going to talk about the rest of the games during wild card weekend, because the NFL has a lot of good games this weekend. A lot. And we're going to dive into them. We're going to dive into each game, give our thoughts, predictions, and all of that. In the third quarter of the show, we're going to talk about the Birds of a Feather All-Pro team. Because, hey, we did an all NFC East team in the offseason. Right. We're going to do our own all-pro team. That's going to be a lot of fun, too. Let's see who makes the cut. And in the fourth and final quarter, we're going to take a look back and give some of our favorite wild card weekend memories. What are some of the best games that we've had that we can recall and enjoy watching in recent memory? We'll talk about all that. And then, of course, we'll top it all off with No Huddle. But first, our poll question for tonight, brought to you by All Campus, which is the home of A2D Rant Booth. They're giving off 20% off everything in their store, including hats, shirts, and team cornhole sets to all their subscribers. And the poll question for tonight, Jalen Hurts is the biggest key to victory against the Buccaneers. Agree or disagree? We're going to talk about in the first quarter of the show, which is brought to you by eXp Realty. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, make sure you hit them up at 302-682-8820 or visit them at alan.foy@exprealty.com. First quarter preview, Eagles, Bucks. Let's dive into it, but before we do, Pete, this is why it's going to be epic. What's going on?
What's up, brother?
What's up, boys? Good to be back.
You kept this from me, you dirty dog.
It wasn't my secret to tell. I was sworn to secrecy.
Okay.
What's up, my boys?
I'm definitely happy. What's up, man?
Been a while.
Yes. Glad to see you, man.
A long while.
Yeah, man. This is my first time on this season, so this should be a lot of fun. I'm excited to talk some football with you boys.
Yes, sir.
Very, very excited. Very excited. So Chrome, what's going on, brother? I'm gonna leave it off to you first, Mister I'm back. So, is Jalen Hurts? Is he the biggest key to victory this Sunday against the Buccaneers, or is it someone else? Do you agree or disagree?
I would agree to the poll. In terms of a unit, I think the defense is going to be really key. We're coming into this, and this is a very different Tampa Bay team than we faced previously. We're playing much better football than we were at that time, and honestly, we made a run at that game. But now you're looking, and they are down quite a few players. When you talk about Godwin, Antonio Brown is down. I think Fournette came back to practice this week, so I imagine he's going to play. But when you look, they're down playmakers. And at a time where it's really crucial for us because we're playing pretty good football going into the playoffs. If I'm looking at an individual player, though, it has to be Jalen Hurts for a number of reasons. He's got to set a tone. They need to play really well early, and I think the quarterback's going to be really important with that. Secondly, it's what he could do in terms of his legs and being able to continue plays and different things like that. But there's also the concern of could he cost you a game if it comes down to having to throw the football, and I think that what I've seen in progressions from Jalen Hurts, the one thing I'm still not confident in is if this team falls behind and you have to throw the football, I still haven't seen enough progression there in terms of if we have to rely on his arm in a game. And this is the game right now. Every game, basically, week after week from here on out is the game. So this is where we need to have Jalen at his best. He needs to make plays. He's got to be able to run the RPO efficiently and intelligently. And, I think he is. I would have to agree to the poll. I think he's going to be the key for us on our end for the success.
Go ahead, Pete.
Well, I can't agree more. Different reasons. But, it is going to solely – I think land on Jalen and how much we're in this game on Sunday. For one, like Chrome said, two different teams, two different styles. Now, especially when they played in October, so 3 months ago. Gronk didn't play in that game. Dallas Goedert didn't play in that game. So it's two different teams taking the field on Sunday at 1:00. For us, and this is what I've been hearing all week, and you kind of reading it, and it's just one of those things. So look who the Eagles played. They had an easy schedule. But listen, I don't give a shit who you played. You still get confidence when you start rolling. You start to believe in yourself, and you realize you got to execute and do what you need to do on the offensive side of the football. And when I talk about Jalen Hurts and why we came up with this poll question is because I'm really looking at what Todd Bowles is going to do. And he's going to send pressure, and he's going to make Jalen have to make some throws. And one of the things that we've seen throughout the year and the tail end of the second half is what we saw in the first half that's gotten better with Jalen is his ball placement and his accuracy, where he's placing his ball at. And having trust with the wide receivers and trust with the skill positions and being able to know when to run and when not to run. But I'm looking back at these things like Chrome said, Leonard Fournette's coming back. But Leonard Fournette had a hamstring injury. We all know how soft tissue injuries can rear their ugly head. So just because these guys are back at practice doesn't mean they're going to play the whole game. I'm not saying they're going to be on the pitch count, but trust me, because there is no more pitch count. Because like Chrome said, it's win or go home. So every week is a season of one game. So, but Levante David, foot injury. That's big, but at the same time, these guys may not be 100%, but really who is. But these guys may get in the game and they haven't seen game action for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. I don't think Leonard Fournette's played since damn near, I think the game after Thanksgiving or maybe the game during Thanksgiving week. So I really feel like it's going to come down to Jalen because I feel like the team itself, and you guys can kind of attest to this. If you look at the games that we've had this season, really outside of the Raiders game and outside of maybe the Chiefs game, I would say, and the week 3 against Dallas, they've been in every game. You feel what I'm saying? So I don't think we have a team that's just going to show up. I've seen scores like 34-10. I've seen the lines back up to 9.5. I don't see it like that because once again, you can get confidence by playing shit. You feel what I'm saying? Now, well, ultimately, I'm sitting here guaranteeing a win. No, I'm not doing like that. I'm not doing it like that. I'm not doing that. But also at the same time, I don't think it's going to be a blowout as it is. And like you said, Chucks, me and you, and I think Chrome kind of felt this way too, even when he wasn't on. We had no expectations coming into the season. Remember, from everything everybody said, we were 2-3 years away. This was a complete rebuilding year. So to be here, to have a game on Sunday in the wild card round, it's definitely a plus. We playing with house money. I'm playing with house money as a fan. They're playing with house money as players, and they gotta live and walk through it. And you can't. There's something you can't take away from that. So win, lose, or draw. Obviously, there's no draw. Win, lose, or draw. You can't. They're already successful. The experience from being here, because that's a little bit different than what we had kind of in like 2001, 2002, when it obviously was Donovan and he was young, but a lot of other, I would say, players on the team were a little older. But you look at some of the key players on this team, yeah, they were here. Some of them were here in 20. Really, I don't think anyone here in 2017. Obviously, DeVonta wasn't here. Goddard, I don't think Goddard was here then. So you got young core players that are getting a taste of winning, and this is their first experience. And honestly, I think this is the perfect matchup for them, because they're going to get somebody who they fucking played with on Madden, or who they visualize themselves playing in the game. When they're out there in practice, maybe on the high school field, just running around, they're thinking about how they can guard or how they're going to catch a pass from Brady when the last seconds of the Super Bowl. So now and maybe a little bit shell shock, because if it was the first time they played them, this is the second. This is the second time that they're seeing them. So I think that has worn off, but at the same time, it's a perfect opportunity for this team to definitely take a step forward. And they've already done that. And I think they're in a better position going into the offseason as it is. So it's going to come down to Jalen. He's going to have to make a throw, whether it's because Todd Bowles, I think they ranked sixth in blitzing this year. And that's 6 years in a row. So he'll bring the heat. So where the decisions that Jalen's going to have to make and the plays that he can make off schedule, that's going to be the key to winning this game. For me, I know you say something different. I know you about to go, Chucks. What is a different poll question? But for me, this is the key.
Just a quick add in too, Pete. The one benefit we do have is Jalen's been in big games before, so that's a plus. He's not a stranger to playing in big games, so that's a plus for us. He knows what it's like to prepare for it. For me, success, I agree with you in that. There was not much expectation. My expectation was more player based, not necessarily the team win count and placing. Now, the fact that we have gotten to the point where we have, and to see the head coach really develop as the season has gone on, which has been very, very pleasing in my opinion, to see Sirianni as well as he's done as the season's gone on get better and better with his game planning. I look at this, and for me, I hate the term house money. I don't like to say it. It's not that you're wrong, but I hate this. Me and Tom, speaking of dad down here, me and him have gone in battles over and over about the house money term. However, for me, I don't want to see them get the doors blown off, right? I don't expect them to win this football game, and we'll get into that as we go along. However, if they were to go into Tampa and get the doors blown off to where, hey, you know what, there was no point in even showing up, that would be a disappointment to me. That's to me, so I can't say it's totally house money. I'm happy to be here, but just show me a little something. They don't have to win.
Right.
Just show me a little something. Don't go in there and get crushed 42 to 16. I don't want to see that.
Show that they at least belong,
Right. And I think they do.
Yeah.
I think this team is much better. And I wasn't on with you guys when we were coming in the season, but the one thing I would have said to you guys back then, I think the team is I would have said a little bit then, much better than what we were giving them credit for coming in. And I think a lot of the guys, minus one or two, Chuck's son, sorry to say it, bud, guy is still disappointed in. He can't even stay on the field, but a lot of guys have developed. Dallas Goedert has developed. And these guys, like you mentioned, Pete, Goddard and Gronk are coming back. That's huge. I don't think it's such a huge offset. It's a little bit of an offset for us. I mean, I'm not putting Goddard on Gronk's level.
Right.
But that's, he's no slouch. He's not just the guy who we were waiting to start creating moments. As soon as Zach Ertz left, he stepped right in and became the guy. And he's been very efficient in that role. I mean, I just don't want to get the doors blown off. That's
exactly. You don't want to see like a 34-10. You don't want to see them get blown out. But that's very, very well put for Goddard being a mismatch for them, because they don't. Like I said, Levante David foot, Shaq Barrett is going to be out there with a partially torn ACL.
It's crazy. This team's beat up.
Yeah. And Shaq Barrett, so he's a pass rusher. Like he's mainly like a downhill type of linebacker. So
Right.
You know, it's not like he brings a ton in coverage. Before I get my input to the
and hello to everybody, by the way. Really nice, everybody.
Yeah.
In the comments. And
I was
going to
say
in here too, Carrie. So thank you guys. I'm happy to be back. I'll just say it now. I'm going to be back mostly, not full time, but you're going to be seeing me a lot more now. There ain't going to be no more 6-7 months in between. I'm easing back into A2D and with my boys here. So you will be seeing me more. I'm happy to be back. I'm loving seeing the comments, and I can't wait to start fighting with you people on here because it's inevitable.
Missed it. We missed it, man.
Get the pleasantries in now. I love you guys. Thank you. I'm happy to be back. Now let's go and let's start shredding.
We've missed that little bit of that ginger spice from you, man. Like me and Pete agree too much on here. We have too much.
He said with them, not with us. With them, with the people.
Well, it's with us too. With us too.
That goes without saying. I'm itching to get at it. I didn't like that you agreed with me here, Pete. I didn't like it at all.
It's so true. And the first I've been rattling off a bunch of comments, but for our first comment of the show, which is brought to you by Manscaped, make sure you use that promo code A2D to get that 20% off. Jake Frio says, "What's up, boys? I agree with the poll. Legends are made in the postseason, and I have a real good feeling about Sunday." I want to get to Marcus Thomas. And Marcus Thomas, by the way, former Eagles running back, new A2D family member, has his show Pro Fan Talk on 7s right before our show. Mm-hmm. Thursdays have become Football Thursdays for A2D Radio, guys. So check them out. Check his show out. Marcus Thomas, thanks for chiming in. He says, "I think Gannon's game plan is the biggest key to victory. Sirianni has learned his lesson on running the ball. Can Gannon, I'm guessing he's saying, draw up pressure on Brady." I'm along a similar mindset as our boy Marcus here. And this is why I disagree to the poll. And it's not to say that Hurts isn't a big key. He is. He's one of like the top 2 or 3 keys to the game that I would put. So if I were to make keys to the game and the 3, one of them absolutely would be Jalen Hurts. But I'm mainly looking at the defensive side of the ball. They have to get pressure, and mainly they have to get pressure with 4. I think with Brady, we all know when it comes to Brady, there are not a lot of ways to really beat him. You know what I mean? Like he can win against so many different coverages. He's seen it all. He's seen it all. Okay, but what is the one thing that really does kind of get him off his game a little bit? And that's pressure in the pocket, especially up the middle. Right. So with this defense, they have to get pressure with 4. They have to get pressure with 4. Now, it's not just a defensive line. I think that a lot of it goes on the defensive line. Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Josh Sweat, they got to get consistent pressure in the pocket and make things difficult for Brady with just 4. But also, I want to see Gannon mix it up a little bit. Put some zone exchanges, zone blitzes, where you're showing 5 or 6 at the line of scrimmage. You're showing a double mug look with the two linebackers in the A gap, and then switch it up. Show Brady that you're not always going to send the same 4 to pressure the quarterback. Mix it up, but you've got to send only 4. And the reason why I say that is because if you send 5 or 6, if you blitz, he's going to pick apart those blitzes. He's going to find the open zones. He's going to find the open man. He's way too smart to not. Brady knows all this. He's seen all this. So you have to pressure with 4, and you have to mix up your coverages. You have to disguise your coverages. And that's something. And a lot of people, I know we have a lot of fans on here that still have gripes with Gannon. They think he sucks and all that. But one of the things that P and I have been pounding the table on or harping on for the past several weeks is Gannon has been mixing up and disguising coverages on the back end so well. He plays a good mix of man and zone, and I expect to see more of that. You have to be able to disguise what you're doing on the back end so that when Brady does get pressured, he doesn't anticipate what's coming at him, or he can't just make the easy hot read and check down to Leonard Fournette or to Gronk. You've got to make him think more and get pressure up the middle and make life difficult for him that way. That's why I disagree to the poll, because this defense has to find a way to stop him, or else, he's gonna matriculate drives down the field, dink and dunk, because Brady does that. If you give it to him, he does that, and then before you know it, we can't get into a rhythm offensively because the defense is on the field way too much. You've got to get pressure on Brady with just 4. So I think that's a huge key. So if anyone wants to say, Hurts and them are pretty equal, I'll be down with that. But I think both are huge factors in this game.
I agree. I agree to a point. I just think Jalen carries more weight. And the reason why I say that is because I think I just have a little bit more faith in our defense on the backside of what they have between Slade, Nelson, and Maddox, and who's suiting up for them. Like, I just saw somebody said that they signed John Brown today that may activate him. Maybe Scotty Miller. I think the biggest chess piece that they have for them going into this game is if Fournette is healthy, and I think he has like 62 catches this year. So Brady does use them, and then the Gronk piece. I mean, you had to put like Anthony Harris on Gronk or something like that. But the thing is, Gronk, he'll get chunks, but he can't run away. I don't think they're going to be big plays. If it was me, I'd probably go like a lot of cover 2 in different forms and fashions to make them force them to kind of run the ball a little bit. And then the pre and post snap is going to be the craziest thing. Like you said before, Gann has done a better job because you know what they're going to do. There's going to be pre-snap motion on Tampa Bay to see what we're in, so Brady can get an idea of what we're in. Because like you said, you throw the kitchen sink at this dude. He's seen it all. Like he's not even Neo. Bitch is Agent Smith. Bitch. That's who he is. He knows the code. Like he's seen it before. This dude may play till he's 50 years old. And I'm not sitting here saying that if we do win this game, I'm not sitting here saying they're going to shut down Brady. I just think Brady doesn't have the pieces and doesn't have the healthy pieces enough if we play our A game. That's the biggest thing.
Here's a question for you guys. And I know what my answer would be, but would you emphasize Darius Slay shadowing Mike Evans? Would that be a point of emphasis, or do you think it has to be like even?
No, I would emphasize that. I would be interested to see what is Slay's. Remember when we were playing Dallas and everybody was coming up with the Cooper versus Slay numbers in the history there? I do a little research and see what Slay's numbers against Mike Evans was when he was with Detroit, when they both were in their prime, just to see. So I'll be back.
You're gonna look it up. You're literally gonna research it
right now.
Nah, I would agree with that. I think that's a great point. I did want to mention real quick. Taylor Bowers asked for old time's sake for me to pop some figures in. So here's some good ones for you, buddy. I just picked one up. I found it at my parents' house, but I just picked one up from Goodwill in Denver online. The old starting lineups. Got my boy Ozzie Smith. 2 of his starting lineups here. So there you go. There's my figure drop of the day. I guess that should be a thing, a figure drop of the day.
There you go. I would like that.
But I agree with Pete in that it's not that I don't think there's the defense is, and I mentioned that when I started, right? That I think the defense is going to be very crucial.
Yep.
However, I do have the confidence that Pete has. I feel like I have more confidence in that the defense will show up to play. I think the secondary, when I look at the second, and I know that Gannon's kind of been up and down this year, and there's people that love him or they hate him, and there's not a whole lot in between. There's a lot of that bend not break that I think drives people crazy. However, when I look at the difference in this team that I have not seen over the last few years, when's the last time we've had a secondary being playmakers, making plays, forcing turnovers in the secondary? We haven't seen that in years. And you look at Slay, right, who last year we said, oh, I don't know, we probably got damaged goods or he's on the way down, and we might have got fleeced. But I see the season that he had this year and the leadership that he seems to have. I think that, when I look at the secondary, I have confidence that these guys can do enough to contain as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right. So what we're going to need, they're going to score points. We need the offense to be able to stay on the field a little bit and give that defense rest. and to be able to drive and put points on the board, whether it's 3s or whether it's 7s or 8s or 6s, whatever, however it turns out. That offense is so key, and that's going to be a lot from the quarterback play on these guys staying on the field. And it's going to be the run game as well. How well they implement that. I think that Sirianni early in the year took a lot of the flack for the run game, for the lack of running. But when I look at it, they did everything RPO. Everything was RPO. So I think for me, as much as people wanted to get on Sirianni for not running the ball, the RPO is supposed to encourage all aspects, right? And I don't think Jalen Hurts was able to run the RPO properly. He wasn't able to identify opportunities to hand the ball off. A lot of it was either going for the big play or he was taking off and running. And I think that what happened as the season went on, and this is where I think Sirianni became a better coach and continued to develop, was, we gave him this much of a leash. We weren't seeing the difference there. So then they started game planning and implementing run plays more and more into the offense, to where that's where I think that we've seen the difference. Not necessarily that, Sirianni was just, when it comes down to the RPO, it's on the quarterback. When the play is called and the ball is snapped, the quarterback has that run pass option. And I just don't think he was doing that enough. Then as they started to implement more, I also think that got Jalen a little more comfortable in running the RPO and being able to identify opportunities when he should be handing the football off. So I think that continued development from Jalen in being able to efficiently run the RPO outside of the design scheme plays for the run, I think is going to be important, because they need to be able to control the clock. They need to keep the defense off the field as much as they possibly can. Because like you guys said, right? What's up, Brad? Like you guys said, right? You let Brady control that clock and go at his pace, whether he wants to do the hurry up offense or he's going to take his good old time. Tom Brady will take the game over and completely control the clock on his own. So I think that that's going to be really important, that Jalen answers that challenge there and is able to offset Tom's ability to do that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Before I counter,
hey,
let's say hi, Uncle Chrome. Say hi, Uncle Chrome.
What's up, Gray? Yeah, big boy.
Yeah, he's getting big. He's getting fat. He's about to take a shower. Say hi, guys. Say go Birds. Go Birds.
Get to your first playoff win, bud.
Heck yeah. No, but you're absolutely right. Like, I was saying it earlier in the year with Pete several times that I think that one, Sirianni definitely still deserves blame, because he wasn't relying so much on the zone read and the RPOs to be the foundation of the running game, and he wasn't following enough traditional run designs like under center, just call it a straight up run play. He wasn't doing that. And so, he deserves someone to blame. But then also, you're right, on those zone reads, on those RPOs, he wasn't handing it off. There were so many times during the game where there would be an opportunity for the running back, whether it be Miles or whether it had been earlier in the year, it was Gainwell, right? They'd have an opportunity to break off a good run with the running lane there, and Hurts would keep it. And so, some of the onus absolutely fell on Hurts for the lack of running back touches that we were getting early in the year. And so I held both of them accountable. I think that they've now found a really, really good groove. Something you've seen, I've really liked, I've appreciated seeing. After Hurts came back, remember he missed that one game. He came back, and then for several games, for a few games, he wasn't running. There weren't a lot of QB designed runs. He wasn't running a lot. He was more so, he was still bootlegging and everything, play action bootleg, but it was more so passing and hanging off to the running back, letting them do their work because the ankle was still hurting. But against Washington, and I had predicted this. I told Pete, on the show, you're going to see Hurts run more, and he did. There was a lot more running against Washington where Hurts was, whether it be design run or Hurts was keeping it, and he showed no hesitation, even though he was still in pain. He admitted it too. No hesitation to take off. And that's big. That's big because now it shows that, hey, he is still a threat. He can still be absolutely a threat to keep the ball, but he trusts his running back, his running backs, his offensive line to to pick up the slack in the running game, or not even just pick up the slack, dominate. Like we have the most dominant run game in the league. And so whether it be our running backs, whether it be Miles, Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, whether it be Hurts keeping it, we have such a dominant run game that all of them can do damage. One of the other things I want to talk about is, you mentioned Miles Sanders. It does look like he is going to play. On his Instagram, he posted something about 2 years ago when he was being interviewed with Deion Sanders, and Deion Sanders mentioned like playoffs, and so like it's kind of like a hint that he's playing, and he's been limited in practice, but everything says, all reports point to him playing. So I think that's huge because we need all the help we can get in the running game. Adam Kaplan, Pete, I don't know if you saw that one interview on the Farsi show. Adam Kaplan agrees with me that we have good running backs here, but Miles is by far the best one we have. And
of course,
we're going to need his talent, his contributions. We need everyone's help on board in order to have a chance of winning this game. Miles is the most explosive running back on the team. Any yard that we can get, he's going to be the one that will be able to maximize it more than any other running back on the team.
Right.
And
when we say the best, he's the most talented. I know people feel it's a touchy subject.
I'm still gonna lean on it.
I know. He's the most talented running back on the team.
I'm just gonna say this. We won quite a few games with Jordan Howard and Boston Scott and Gainwell. And in my opinion, boy, did they make Miles Sanders look real expendable.
Until Miles came back. And then Miles even dominated even more. Miles came back and had 2 straight 100-yard rushing games. The other running backs didn't. So that's just my point. Like, we have our offensive line is so dominant.
If I never saw
other running backs can absolutely have
on the field again.
But Miles is the best one. He's going to maximize. He's going to maximize and get the most out of what is given.
Wouldn't even bat an eye. Half the time I forget he's on the roster.
Well, yeah, you forgetting a lot of stuff.
So when they played early this season, Miles Sanders had 9 carries for 56 yards. Real quick, I just want to go back to while I was gone for a minute. So
you're researching. Yeah.
In 3 games against Darius Slay, he had 16 catches, 250 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That was overall, but he played him in 2020. So the 2020 game, it was mainly the 2020 game. He had a lot of yards, but it was mainly his 2014, his rookie season. He had like 3 catches, 45 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And obviously, what we did here in I think it was week 5 or week 6, I think Slay had him at 2 catches, 27 yards. It's a little bit different, and that was with Chris Godwin on the field. Now it's going to change because now Brady's going to kind of force feed him a little bit because that's really all you got. I mean, you're going to have Bashard Perryman, you're going to have Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson, that's another stuff. So Brady doesn't need the names to beat you, but he needs those guys to be able to execute and be where they need to be and catch the ball. Yeah. Biggest matchup on the offensive line, trenches wise for us, fucking healthy Vita Vea versus Jason Kelce.
I was going to bring that up.
If we don't win that, it's over with. If we don't win that, it's over.
Yeah, you got a problem then.
Yeah, it's a huge, like, that is the matchup, and that's like, we talk about because Tampa traditionally this season has had a really good run defense. Obviously,
it's been slacking the second half of the season,
and the linebackers, Levante David and stuff, they so good against the run. But as we said at the top of the show, they're hurt. Right. Now Vita Vea is still there. That matchup is so crucial because Vita Vea can wreck everything in the backfield. He absolutely can. He can wreck everything in the backfield. And so that's like one of the top matchups to watch because if Vea can't be stopped, it's going to be a long day for our offense. But I do have faith in Jason Kelce. I think it's going to be a back and forth battle. They're going to be trading punches the whole game. There are going to be a lot of reps where Vea wins. There are going to be a lot of reps where Kelce wins.
Well, you can kind of not run to his side, and if you run to the left side, realistically, if they run behind Lane Dickerson and Jordan Mailata, they should have success. But our safeties need to have the game of their lives on Sunday. That's key because I think I forget where I heard it at, but they were talking about what Jonathan getting to take a look at what Dennis Allen does in New Orleans and how they have his number. I mean, that's cool, but you fucking got Marshawn Lattimore and Malcolm Jenkins and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who was a knucklehead, but you got talent. And the biggest thing that me and Chucks have talked about the whole year with the defense, you just don't have the studs to be able to do that shit. And once again, Russ Weeks, he says the funniest thing is now that put it back up. He said the funniest thing that Eagles in the playoffs, you think we're gonna be blowing out some of the excuses. Will be like, no, they won't. Not for me. It's not gonna be an excuse. It will be disappointment, like Chrome said, if people get blown out 34-10. No, it'll hurt, but at the same time, because it's the fucking GOAT. Anybody who's sitting here out here saying you guaranteeing this, or you like how even Jake's first comment brought to you by Manscaped. Use promo code A2D 20% off at manscaped.com. When he says I feel good about Sunday, bitch, I'm terrified. and honestly, realistically, fans, strap in for this. If we win, guess where you going next? You going to Lambeau next, and that's a blowout.
I have little faith in Lambeau. I have little faith if we go to Lambeau. This is our Super Bowl right here. This is
and you got Tom. He's lulling us in too, right? He's saying all the pleasantries, he's sweet talking the Eagles and the fan base, talking about how last time didn't go well for him, how they're the toughest team. That he's luring us in and setting us up. I know it, and that's why it makes me nervous, Pete. That's what makes me nervous about it, because Tom is doing what Tom does. It's the mind games, man. He's like an inchworm, just getting in there and just digging the frig away, and you know it. And then I'm gonna feel real good, and then he's gonna put up a 40 spot on us, and I'm gonna feel terrible about myself on Saturday.
We know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like 7 minutes into the first quarter. It's not gonna look good, and then everyone in our chat's gonna be like, "Oh, this sucks. We're getting blown out." Everyone's going to overreact. That's
especially
how it
two
is
people.
every
The
single
two youngest
game.
ones out. The two youngest ones on here, Evan, Jimmy, Flight Zone. These guys, I swear, they need a legal pad that they can write down before and they need a buffer before they send anything.
I love them. Man, you talk about overreaction city on everything. It is the easiest thing. And you guys are in the group chat, so I mean, we go from like it's like the doom and gloom, man. They are like they go from Tigger to Eeyore real quick, dude. Real quick.
It's awesome. I love those guys. And
I do too.
The funny thing is they admit it too. Like that's
they know.
I respect them that because they admit it. They're like, oh yeah,
that's why they know when they comment, and they know I'm going to comment like, why do you have to do this to me? Why do you have to make me like come back at you now and remind you guys of you haven't seen horrible football or terrible basketball. You didn't watch the Eric Montross days of Doug Overton days of the 76ers. You didn't see any of that stuff, okay? You didn't watch all those Scotty Skiles and all that. You didn't watch any of that. We did. We went through some tough, hard times.
Hard times. So we love them. It's a fun time. I'm just hoping that our energy is the same on Sunday. I think that it's going to be a battle. Right. I do think it's going to be a battle. Win or lose, I think it's going to be a much closer game than it was in the first matchup. Because remember, the first matchup, it technically was a blowout.
It was a short week for us too, wasn't it?
Garbage time. I think we scored like 2 touchdowns late.
They made a little run in the fourth.
Yeah, they made a little run.
I don't know if it was. I wouldn't even know if I would call garbage time because they had a chance to win that game. They had a chance.
Yeah, it was 28-22.
And they had their starters on the field. I wouldn't call it garbage time.
Yeah, not garbage time.
But they made a run at it, but they were in such a hole.
Yeah.
That, it was nearly impossible to dig out of that hole.
Yeah, and I still remember that game too. Like I think we handed it off to Miles like twice in the first half. And then, like, by the end of the third quarter, I think the whole stadium, if you remember, was yelling, "Run the ball, run the ball!" And then, like, they finally gave it to Miles a couple of times. He ripped off like a few big runs, and everyone, I remember the crowd going wild. So, like, I doubt that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we're going to be running the ball from the get-go.
But that game was a turning point because you're right, Chucks. That was the game where if you saw after that going forward, when Miles. Now, give Miles that much credit, right? He was able to kind of set the tone there and show, and that's why they got back into the game because they were able to start balancing the run pass.
Yes,
and they were able to then kind of develop off of that going forward after to where that game was actually a turning point in the season, I think, for Sirianni and his game planning and scheming because then you did start to see them run the football more often and hand the ball off more often.
Yep. Yeah. Was the next week was week 7 against the Raiders? That was the Raiders. Yeah, because that absolutely was the turning point. Because the beginning of the Raiders game before Miles got hurt, they were running the ball down their throats. Like it was all Miles. He got hurt, and Sirianni went away from the game plan again. And then the next week they went back to the run with Howard and Scott. And
I feel like Vegas, weird shit happens in Vegas, bro. It's just you see. The Chargers were doing that shit all year, but it's just like I feel like Vegas just has like this Bermuda Triangle type vibe, like the way the state, the way the crowd is, how the field looks. It's just.
Well, you saw that game. You saw that game.
It's just
that game
different,
on Sunday. Was it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday night.
Sunday night. Yeah.
Oh, that was nuts. We'll get into that. In a little bit.
Real quick, I think, and you guys can attest to this. The younger ones probably won't know that maybe they was real young, but this is the first time we've seen Tampa Bay in the wild card round. I felt like at the start of the run in the early 2000s, we played them bitches like every year, if I'm not mistaken. But I think this is the first time we're playing them in the playoffs there, if I'm not mistaken. Like those games that
I can remember at least, yeah.
Yeah, obviously we know about the vet, and that's one of the worst losses in Eagles history. Joe Jervis, I'll say it is fucking still running, asshole. Another thing. Rondé Barber, real quick. Rondé Barber being on the final list for the Hall of Fame over Eric Allen is a fucking travesty.
Eric Allen, I don't know why he keeps getting overlooked. Eric Allen,
it's a travesty, but neither here or there. But I'm not mistaken. I think they played in 2000 wild card that was here. 2001 it was here. No, I think 99 was here. 2000. Forget what it was. 2001 they played them in the wild card round, and obviously it was a win. So this is a little bit different. Obviously, it's a different team, different things. I've seen somebody say that they had Godwin, AB, and Mike Evans. It's going to be different this time. Listen, dog, I don't give a shit what he got. All right, you can get Tiger Woods fucking golf clubs from Goodwill, bitch, and he needs to shoot a 5 under in a round and win the championship. That bitch will find a way to shoot 5 under in a round and win a championship. You can give Tom Brady Refi Beans as wide receivers. If you don't force pressure somehow, some way, and I will say this Sunday. Guess what? We need to get lucky. You're gonna need some type of luck to come out of there with a W. You may need some type of luck just to stay in the game. You feel what I'm saying? Because the odds are stacked against you because who's on the other side, and that's why I don't think it's the worst. I've heard somebody say it's like the most overlooked matchup. Like, and we'll get into the matchups for the rest of the weekend. But this is one that's like for us, it's important because we're here. But national level, nobody gives a shit about this game. You know what I mean?
Yes. I will say this too, because you talk about it. Brady maybe not having as many weapons, and he doesn't. I'm not comparing this guy to AB or Godwin, but Tyler Johnson isn't as bad as people think. Tyler Johnson, I liked a lot.
No.
Tyler Johnson isn't a scrub. Like Tyler Johnson is solid. He's a solid wide receiver, and if given the opportunity, he will make a play. He will make plays on the defense if given an opportunity. Now, if he's matched up a lot, because he plays a lot of slot, if he's matched up a lot against Avonte Maddox, I favor Maddox in that matchup.
Mm-hmm.
But again, all I'm saying is, it's not like it's Mike Evans, Gronk, and a bunch of nobodies.
Right.
Tyler Johnson isn't horrible. He's not.
Right. It's nobody that we've heard of yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Tyler
Johnson's in his second year. He's like in the second year, and now he's getting an opportunity. So I don't be surprised if you hear Tyler Johnson's name a couple of times and he makes a play or two against us. Don't be surprised because he's not. He's pretty good. He's pretty talented. So, any other stuff about the Eagles game that you guys want to cover before we head on to national news? Go to the rest of the wild card weekend. I don't know if you want to give predictions. We might as well give predictions too before we switch over. But anything else you want to cover, any key matchups, anything you're focusing on, so on and so forth.
DeVonta Smith, I've been on this train for a couple of weeks now, just trying to get the ball in his hands early and often, not force feed it to him, but just let him know he's there. And I think that'll help the running game some, especially with a team, because that's what they're going to expect. They're going to expect us. What we put on tape for the last 6, 7, 8 weeks is we run the football. We've been the best running football team. What do they do well? They stop the run well. So you can't. So Sirianni, like Chrome was saying, we give him credit for making an adjustment after that Bucs game and after that Raiders game. Don't be cliche and just go and try to run right at him, because that's not going to work. Obviously, you could do different run fits, but that's why I said Jalen, he's going to have to pass the ball somehow, some way, get people involved, and then go from there. I actually, this is going to sound crazy, and this really may be shooting my wad here, but I think Jalen Reagor is going to have a good game. I don't know how. Exactly.
What on earth would tell you to say that?
I'm thinking of people that I'm
behind that on these airwaves. I'm not telling you not to, but is that something you really want to dabble in that?
I'm just saying. I think he's going. A big game for him is like 3 catches, but I think I can see a splash play from him or 2 in this game.
Well, in that case, I think J.J. Arcega-Whiteside's going to have a great game. He's going to have a big game. He's going to have a 7-yard catch.
There you go. If it's for a touchdown, that's fucking great.
There you go.
You know he can't catch those. Yo, the way he dropped that ball. Oh
Yo, that was so bad. That was so bad. Like, bro, I'm pretty sure we've caught harder passes in
oh my god, it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. And I'm just saying, I mean, he might have a 7-yard catch that does something.
Yeah.
At least he's a special teamer that contributes, though. I'm gonna say that's what puts Reagor worse than him. He's actually, at least he contributes at a high level on special
teams. Yeah.
Yes.
I know we didn't draft a special teamer in the 2nd round, but if that's what we got, it's what we got. At least he's contributing something on the football field.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Don's with you though, Pete.
Come on, Don. Don't do this to me, Don. That's my first show back. Don't start doing this. Don't encourage this.
Is this thumbnail Dan Campbell in a Lions jersey?
It looks like it, doesn't it? Or is that Hawkinson?
That's Dan Campbell, bro.
That's definitely not Hawkinson.
I think that's Dan Campbell. No, so before we switch to quarter 2, the last thing and just go around. 67 degrees, precipitation, 90% chance on Sunday. How does that affect us? I mean, I like us with the better offensive line.
Advantage us.
Yeah.
Advantage us. No, but again, it's Brady. He's played in the snow before. So I mean, like, it's not like
he won a game he shouldn't have won in the snow, but
that's true.
Listen, we're talking any elements, God given or what have you. Anything that can happen, I'm in. Bring it on. Let's go. If it's going to change the landscape of it, give us a better chance, I'm in.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. And great. I was going to say something, but now I forgot what I thought. Anyway,
I'm Dynasty. I'm as big of a Greg Ward guy as there's ever been on
Greg Ward's your guy.
And I also forget half the time that he's on the football team now. So I can't. I mean, I hope. I have more confidence in that than Jalen Reagor contributing anything.
Yeah.
Quez is a guy I think might be able to
like
something.
Love me
we're talking
Quez.
Dark horse guys that there's not a focus on. I think Quez is a guy that you might see maybe 4 or 5 passes, 60 yards, something like that. Maybe a touchdown somewhere in the back of the end zone. I could see him having some big catches at key moments.
Yeah. I remember what I was going to say. Because Pete, you mentioned how like they're gonna have to throw the ball. Right. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out throwing a decent amount just to throw off the Bucs, because the Bucs are gonna sell out versus the run. You know that.
Right.
Like they're gonna sell out to stop the run. The Eagles are gonna have to counteract that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pass a decent amount just to get the Bucs off their game plan. It's going to be, like, okay, you're going to do this. I want to show you that if you're going to stop the run, I'm going to make you pay because we can still pass the ball. So the receivers are still going to obviously have to contribute. DeVonta Smith, I think it can be set up for DeVonta to have a big game because one of our wide receivers is going to have to make a play at some point. It can't just all be running game.
If we're worried, right? If we're talking about, the matchup at the front and they're able to start shutting down the run game, does that mean Jordan Howard has to be on the field more because we're going to need that extra layer of protection for Jalen to be able to extend plays? Do you run any 2-back sets? So you have
You're
him
right.
back
Yeah,
there to just
I would
protect?
love to. I would love 2 back sets just to get. We started
too.
calling more. We call it more, and then like Miles got hurt, and then we stopped going to those a little bit. But to be fair, we only played the Cowboys. So I mean, I can't. That's not for me to say. But we were starting to show those 2 running back sets with Miles and Jordan Howard a couple of times on crucial third downs on the past couple of games. I would love to see that, because then now you're giving a defense a different look where, hey, they can hand it off to Howard up the middle. You're going to have to defend that, but you swing Miles out, you flare him out on the flat, cover that. And now you've got Dallas Goedert maybe leaking out other side. You gotta now defend sideline to sideline. Everyone's a threat. Oh, and also Jalen Hurts can keep it. So I love those looks. I love the pony package looks with the 2 running backs. I think I definitely would want to see that. You might as well go all out. You have to. Don't keep anything back now in your playbook. Let it all out. Show it out, and leave it all on the field.
Yep. Yeah, this is when I missed the fullback position so much.
Well, you can put Malata at the fullback position and have Dillard play left tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, if he really wants to go jumbo, and with the weather that I'm seeing, I mean, I'd rather take a guy as a quarterback that can get out of the pocket and create off-schedule plays instead of a statue. Not taking anything away from Tom, but if shit goes left, Tom ain't going nowhere. Tom's going down.
That's why. Yeah. That's why pressure is key. You want to give quick predictions, guys, before we switch it over?
I'll go.
It doesn't have to be score predictions. You don't have to give a score prediction, but do you think win or lose?
I'll give a score prediction. I think the Eagles will fall short. I'm looking at something like a 28-24. I think they're going to put points on board. I think the score is probably going to be fairly similar to what we saw on the Thursday night game. Thinking around 28-24. If I'm going player of the game, it's probably going to be Tom Brady, just because he's Tom Brady, and I can never doubt him anymore.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
I think it's a loss. I got to talk with my head here. I think it's a loss. I think I'm going to say probably 27-21, 27-23 in that range, and I think my player of the game is going to be Leonard Fournette.
I'm going to be the optimist here. I say we squeak one out. I'm going to say 24-20. 24-20 Eagles.
Okay.
Listen, it depends on what Tampa team you get. We can't forget that as we continue to play better, Tampa was very inconsistent down the stretch.
Yep.
Very, very inconsistent down the stretch, and they gave up some big plays. So, stop it. Don. Stop it.
Oh, God.
There's nobody that wants that to be truer than Jalen Rager himself. I just want to let you know that. Nobody walking this face of this earth wants that to be more true than Jalen Rager. 18.
He might be the only one.
Don, you might be Jalen Rager's favorite fan now.
We're going to trade him to Detroit.
Fan.
We're going to trade him to Detroit.
I'd love that.
Quarter 2. Yeah, quarter 2 is brought to you by our second quarter, Q2, whatever we're going to call it. Body Check Wellness is a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of that thing they call hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, and topicals. Use promo code. Once again, you already know what it is. Those famous 3 characters, A2D, for 25% off your body off your order at bodycheckwellness.com. Diet Pepsi and being on live is not a good thing when it's carbonated.
I got the Crystal Light juice in this cup here.
There you go.
So second quarter is wild card weekend. Most intriguing matchup for me, obviously, Chuck is going to like this, is what comes on after the Eagles game on Sunday.
Heck yeah! I'm not put the Eagles fanhood aside. I think listening to a lot of national podcasts, I think a lot of people have their eyes set on that game the most. That is an intriguing matchup.
And so we're talking about San Francisco versus Dallas. Obviously, I think Saturday you have Raiders, Bengals, and I believe Chiefs, Steelers, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
Chiefs, Steelers, I think Sunday night.
Sunday night, okay.
I'm going to go different. I got to go Saturday night, man. divisional matchup, Buffalo and New
Patriots,
England.
That one's good too. Yep.
You know, I think New England has looked very strong all year. However, I felt like they scuffled a little bit down the stretch. Buffalo, I think, is kind of the opposite. You start to see them maybe turn a little bit of a corner towards the end of the season. However, no matter what happened last year, New England's back already.
Yeah.
So to me, this is still New England's division. Buffalo has to take them out. Josh Allen now has to prove himself in this playoff game against New England. And this is a chance for him now to lay his stake into the division and say, we're the team now in this division. We're the big dogs. So I'm very intrigued by this. I want to see how this matchup goes in Buffalo.
I think
New England, I don't think has any fear of going into Buffalo either.
No, and shitty weather too. You're talking about, I think it's snow. Wind. Like, it's crazy the Bills get these games, but like you said, Cronus, to echo your point, is they found a running game with Devin Singletary. They realized, Brian Dable realized, I can't just put it on Josh Allen to go out there and have him do it all. So they found some type of balance going into the last couple weeks of the season.
No, and you know, you talk about the weather elements. You know, we talk about how, like, us going to Lambeau and these different things. New England doesn't even bat an eye when it comes to playing in snowy weather. So there's no home field advantage in terms of that. You know, so I'm very, very intrigued by that matchup.
Yeah. And then, so was Raiders Bengals early on Saturday, and then Patriots Bills.
That's another one.
That's another one. Yeah,
I'm betting the over in that game all day.
I am like, because I really like watching that Bengals offense. I love.
They're such a balanced football team. When they're playing well, and then they're clicking on all. I mean, they can click on all cylinders and control a football game. But I look at that, and it's just two very interesting teams to me. You know what I mean? When we talk about, you know, Joe Burrow and how young that team is, you know, Jamar Chase, unbelievable. I mean, he's had an unbelievable season. And then you look on the other side of the football. I think Derek Carr's had a very good year. I think despite everything that football team has had to face, they have, despite questionable play calling, like we saw at the end of the Chargers game, I think that they have overcome and they have shown. Josh Jacobs, you know, I've always liked Josh Jacobs. I think that this could be a very good game. And Pete, you're right. It's probably going to be a shootout in this game. A lot of balls put in the end zone.
I want to see, because I think, like, with the Raiders, it's, I don't want to say miracle, but it's amazing that they're in, but like different reasons than we say for us. They've gone through so much turmoil this season, and the fact that they were able to get in the way they did, I think they are riding a high. Now, is this high going to lead to an emotional letdown come Saturday, or is it going to be momentum that they carry into to maybe get a win? I don't know. We'll see. But that's what makes it intriguing, because the Raiders have a lot of talent, even without Henry Ruggs. You know, they have a lot of talent. That defense is pretty damn good. Max Crosby is a stud. So
the defense travels with Crosby and Yannick. I'm concerned with. We talked about it before. I think Cincinnati may have the best complement of skill position players in the league. When you look at T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and you add in Joe Mixon,
they are good.
Joe Mixon, Joe Mixon finally getting the respect he deserves. I mean, Joe Mixon has been.
I mean, when you hit somebody with an all-you-can in college, that'll put some damage on your respect.
You got a long way to come back for that. But you know, to your point, Pete. I mean, I think, and Chucks, I think that this team could be a team that can make a lot of noise in the AFC in the playoffs. Right. It would not shock me if they're in the conference championship game or even get to the Super Bowl. I just think if they can play a well-balanced game, there's not many teams that are as built all around to succeed as that team is. And they're young. They're going to be there for a while. It's about time for Cincinnati fans, to be honest, because, you know, for everything that everybody gave Cleveland, it's been a rough road for Cincinnati for a long time. Long time. So I think that it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Cincinnati does in this run.
Yeah, it is. Because that, and it's crazy, because I have to give props to them, because during the draft, I was one of the many, I'm pretty sure a lot of people agreed, I was one of the many that was knocking them for picking Chase over Sewell. I thought you had to get the offensive lineman. You had to protect Burrow. And to the Bengals' credit, they have done a great job because their offensive line still isn't the best. It still isn't great. But they do a great job of protecting him despite the offensive line. And part of that is that connection between Burrow and Chase. They have just such a good chemistry. You put everything else in there, that balance between Mixon, all the other weapons. That's just such a potent offense. And Burrow, he might not be as toolsy as a Mahomes or a Josh Allen or Justin Herbert, but man, he is a competitor. He is as poised and as smart behind the center in that pocket as anyone. And he can move, and he has an arm. He has enough of like physical talent as a passer, but he has that moxie and those intangibles you want in a quarterback. So,
I mean, and he doesn't matter. The dude's a fucking looker, man. I would say this: Cincinnati to me right now. You just said that. You talk about Burrow and Chase's connection. Right now, I'll say it on paper. They're Green Bay light. Like they remind me me of Rodgers and Adams and Aaron Jones. When you look at
they're
those
in their first year,
right? And they're in their first year. I can literally see that them Burrow and Chase having that type of connection 2-3 years from now.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe even better because you add in Joe Mixon when you add that extra element into there. Yeah. And it shows that they made the right move. Now this year, when it goes into the draft, they can focus on. They don't have to focus on those playmakers and weapons on the offensive side of the ball. They can focus on their defense and they can focus on their line up front. Now they can build the rest of that. And again, now we hit the next level going into next year. I mean, I'm really, really impressed with how well that team is built.
So we thinking Bengals win that game.
Yeah,
I think the Bengals win in a like you said, Pete. It's probably going to be a bit of a shootout. I don't know that it's going to be a close game, but I could see something like 38-29 or 41-30 or 32, something along those lines. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of points put up in this game.
A lot of points, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, go ahead, Chucks.
Oh yeah, I was going to go to the next game because I know you guys talked about Bills Patriots. Just want to give my input. I love this matchup. Okay. I do. I want to see more of it, and I do think, gun in my head, I think the Pats pull it out. Right. But I'm not a take. That's not a take that I'm confident in. And you know what I mean? Right. Like I think it's a toss up. It wouldn't be surprised me one bit if the Bills pulled it out. Because you mentioned the running game. Yeah, they're running more, but I still don't think Devin Singletary is anything special. Mm-hmm. Now he doesn't have to be. They just have to have a competent run game for Josh Allen. But that Patriots defense is so good. So I think a lot of it rides on Mac Jones and how much he's able to manage the game and not make mistakes. And if Josh Allen is going to make mistakes, as we know, Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but he is prone to doing a lot. And when he gets kind of crazy out there, he gets to make some mistakes. So I love that matchup, and you guys know that I love Ramondre Stevenson. So I'm gonna love to see him and Harris run again on Saturday. So that is a really good matchup too. That Saturday night game. We talked about the Eagles-Bucs. So let's get into Niners-Cowboys. I said at the beginning of the segment, I think it's the most intriguing matchup of the weekend. It's you have the Dallas Cowboys team who have been a traditional, like this is a typical Cowboys playoff team in terms of the years where they've made the playoffs. They've been dominant early on, and then as the season goes on, they show cracks in their armor. They show weaknesses, and they tend to stumble a little bit, and then before you know it, come playoff time, they're either one and done or they're out in the next round. So I'm very interested to see it. And this is not a good matchup for them because the Niners will run it down their throats. They will. We've seen it against the Rams. We've seen it against a lot of other teams. The Niners will run it down their throats, and Kyle Shanahan doesn't care. If you can't stop the run, he will run it again and again and again. He will and Chrome, our boy, our son, Deebo Samuel, is having a career year. He is special, not only as a wide receiver, but as he legit is a hybrid running back wide receiver.
Yep.
He does so much for that offense. So I think, and don't forget on the other side of it, the Niners, their front six, because they play nickel mostly, but their front six is balling right now. They got Greenlaw back, so you're talking about Greenlaw and Fred Warner, who's a top 1 or 2 linebacker in the league, and you got that defensive line, bro. Like
there we got Armstead, you got Bosa, you got what's the boy from South Carolina?
They got Arden Key, who they brought in. Arden Key has been playing well too.
Who was the first round pick? The tackle. I can't remember his name.
Now. Kinlaw,
Javon Kinlaw.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's like you said, Chuck, you're probably going to say is the over aggressive. I keep seeing and Bill's going at it. He says Dak's going to throw all over him. He's not a believer in Jimmy G. Listen, you're talking about fucking Dan Quinn. All right. And Shanahan versus Dan Quinn. They were on. Now, that's the one matchup. That's the one matchup nobody's talking about. You have the head coach from a Super Bowl who's going against his OC. But the thing is, Trayvon Diggs, he likes to when he's that good, he takes chances. Shanahan's going to try to find a way to take the over-aggressive Dallas defense and use it to his advantage. But at the same time, San Fran's weak on the back end.
Yes.
You can only have so many corners, and when you trotting Josh Norman out there versus Amari Cooper versus CeeDee Lamb, now Cedric Wilson is showing you he can ball a little bit too.
That's where they're hurting at the corners. At corner, they're hurting. They're Josh Norman, and now they got the rookie Embry Thomas who's playing decent. They got Emmanuel Mosley. Emmanuel Mosley is underrated. He's actually a pretty good corner. But I mean, you've got a rookie out there in Embry Thomas going against either whether it be CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper or Michael Gallup, or no, not Michael Gallup, but yeah, those two. Then Cedric Wilson. Yeah, that's the mismatch on that side of the ball. So I think it could end up being like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a game that's in the late 20s, early 30s in terms of scores on each side. Like it could end up being 35-28 or something like that. Like it's these offenses can get on a roll. And Bill Middlebrook is like you said, he's throwing shade at Jimmy G. Jimmy G is not anything great. Okay, he's not anything great. I know we had a fun time a few years ago when our old friend Kevin said that Jimmy G is a top 5-10 QB in the league. He's nowhere close to that. He's not that. But I think at the same time,
who was the other quarterback he said too?
Oh God,
what the hell was his name?
Stidham.
Jared
Stidham.
He's like Jared Stidham could be a top 5 with him.
Oh, God. Okay. Yeah. He's Jimmy G does get a little bit of disrespect because people forget Jimmy G has won games. Like, and I'm not talking like, oh, he won a game or like he did very little, but the Niners still won a game. No, I'm talking about there have been situations where Jimmy G has played outstanding.
Last week,
come up clutch in games to win the game for the Niners.
He can win you games. He
can win you games. Yeah,
anyone who
he's not a slouch.
No, and if you put weapons around him, he's more than serviceable.
Yes.
We're not talking about like what the hell was his name? Trent Dilfer. Like, you know what I mean? He's not a Trent Dilfer. Maybe he's like Ryan Fitzpatrick, who, by the way, can win you football games in this league. And if you put a team around him, he's pretty. Other than getting hurt this year, he's a pretty reliable quarterback who can make plays in big situations and help win games. Maybe he's on that level. And guess what? That's okay. That's okay. That team's built to win with a guy if you have a Ryan Fitzpatrick type of guy. Yeah. So, no problem. They're not a team that slings it all the time. They can run the football. And that's where he would thrive. If it's a team who's looking to sling the ball all the time, I'd be a little bit worried about having Jimmy GQ as my quarterback. But if you can mix it up, you're fine.
Yeah, and all the pressure's on Dallas, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Very, very good point. Very good point.
I got to tell you, Chucks, I won that football league this year.
Did you?
And I won with – I had Dalvin Cook as my running back, and then I had Gus Edwards, who obviously was out for the year. So literally my second running back was like a mix of like Tony Pollard. I had no good running backs in the backup. I mean, I was throwing Jordan Howard in, but I had Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, Jamar Chase, Antonio Brown, Amari Cooper. I mean, my team was so stacked with number one wide receivers that they were putting up. I had a game where, like, Chase basically won fantasy league for me. He put up 66 points the last week. Yep. But then I still had Cooper Kupp with, like, 33 points. Deebo Samuel, 30 points. And I'm like, well, I mean, I literally won with 3 wide receivers. It was done. And I have also, by the way, Pat Mahomes was my quarterback.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you make up for it. You made up for it.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But I mean, I talk Deebo. What I wouldn't give, I'd cut your thumbs off, both of you, to get Deebo Samuel on this football team. And I
don't think Nick could use him right there.
I'd give my pick.
I don't think Nick could use him right. That's the beauty of it, is that he's in the system with a coach who knows how to use him.
That is true too, but I still think he'd be talented as crap.
Well, yeah, I mean, talent's talent, but Shanahan puts him in positions to where it's just so easy. He puts him in positions with leverage to win for him to use his God-given natural ability to make a play.
Like when you watch him, he is literally like a running back's body playing wide receiver.
Well, I love that they use him as a running back sometimes.
Yeah,
like they really, truly, he's become almost like a high. Obviously, he's clearly a wide receiver, but they almost use him in a hybrid format.
Percy Harvin-esque, bro.
Yeah, wherever you can put him in, wherever he can make a play, that's where they're going to
put him in.
I wish that more coaches would do that with guys who have multifaceted skill sets.
Yes,
that you could utilize them in more than one role. That we have to continue to put guys into one single role. It's phenomenal to see.
How long have I been saying teams should have been? Past teams that Cordero Patterson was on should have been using him in that role. And now finally we get the Falcons using him in that role. You know, him and Deebo, and the great thing is the Niners aren't just using Deebo as like on gimmick runs. So
say his name. Say his name. You know what I'm talking about. What's another key to success lately? Because who's become number 11?
Number 11, Ayuk, baby, Brandon Ayuk. But what I was saying is like Deebo gets runs up the middle too. It's not just to the outside. He runs between the tackles like a legit running back. But yeah, like Deebo is a stud. We all know that. But then I hope people don't forget Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk may be as a pure, if you're just looking strictly as a wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk may be even better than Deebo as a pure wide receiver. Brandon Ayuk is a baller and a stud, but because he had a slow first half of the year, people forget about him. But he is talented.
Really, just to echo off of that, guess who's been quiet for them for like the last 3 weeks?
Kittle?
Yes.
Yeah.
You almost forget. It's almost when you forget he's there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would love Parsons but how Dan Quinn's chess piece of how he can use Parsons, but I can see a situation where Shanahan can force Dan Quinn to have to put Parsons on Kittle. When he does that, that takes away from your advantage in the run game.
That's going to be very interesting too, because remember that Kittle, a lot of his value is what he brings to the run game as a blocker. Like he legit is like an offensive lineman when it comes to blocking. He's easily the best blocking tight end. So when you have someone like that who is key in the run game, like you have to so you match the run game dominance that the Niners have. Kittle is always going to be a key proponent of that. But then as a defensive coordinator, how are you going to keep that in check where you are trying to stop the run, but then the moment the Niners go play action and then run a leak with Kittle, who are you going to have to stop him? So that's a big matchup also with Parsons or how they choose to play Kittle. I do think they're going to match up Parsons on him a good amount. So that's going to be something to watch out for, and I'm really going to be focused on as well. Yep. I think the Niners come out on top in the nail biter. I think it's let's see, 20. I'll say 28-24 or 28-21, something like that.
Yeah. I can say I'm going to say I'm going to go higher than that. I'll probably say like 31-28, 34-31, something like that. I think it's going to be higher just because I think Dallas can score.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know Zeke's not the same. I'm interested to see what Tyron Smith, if he's playing or not, how healthy he is. it's just people forget. Like we hear, like you said, the defensive line of San Fran is no slouch. Like obviously, I think Nick is better than Joey, but Joey, they had the better Bosa brother. For what the fuck am I talking about?
I say Nick is better than
Joey. They have the better Bosa brother. And you got Eric Armstead, Javon Kendall, like you said, Arden Key. Arden Key's long, So and when you got Dre Greenlaw back, I didn't even know that. And
they got him back last week. Yep.
I mean, it's just last week. The only thing they're missing is consistent secondary play. I mean, they got Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward on the safeties, but just that consistent corner play. It's going to be a good one. It's definitely going to be. I actually kind of think low key, the last game of the weekend, I wouldn't say it's probably even worse than what our game is, but it's just two franchises. One that's hot recently, and you got the Steelers franchise who arguably could be America's team. They're the rightful America's team. You know what I mean? But as far as just on paper, I don't think that game means what's the spread is like 13.5 or 12.5 the last time I looked at it. So it tells you everything.
It could get ugly again. Before we get into that real quick, Don does want to ask Crow, how do you feel about the Flores firing? I asked you this in the chat too. You didn't reply. So I do want to hear your thoughts before you go. So I really would like, because I'm shocked. I heard about this on Sunday. I saw a tweet that there was a rumor he could be fired, and I was like, "This can't be true. He's doing a great job." And then I saw the report, like it was official Monday. I'm like, "What in the world has happened?" So, being Dolphins being your AFC team.
Yeah, first and foremost, I think it's a terrible move. I'm just going to say that because I think Brian Flores is a guy who's primed to be one of the next great head coaches in this league. There's something about him, and I think that, what he's done in terms of that organization and helped to turn them around and coach a lot of these guys up. Now, there's been other stuff that's come out since, and I'll address that in this discussion. However, my initial reaction was, and I still stand by this, they have a terrible owner. Their owner, this is an organization that has not had its act together since Dan Marino retired in 1999. They've had how many quarterbacks, how many general managers and head coaches? It's been a carousel in way too many important roles in an organization than it should be. You talk about a quarterback carousel or you talk about a head coaching carousel, but when you have multiple GMs, multiple head coaches, multiple quarterbacks, all the most important positions in the field or in an organization, that's a problem. That's a real problem. And to me, he's almost like the nice guy version of Jerry Jones because he's very hands-on, he's very vocal and involved. But I look at the strings that this guy constantly pulls and they make no sense. Now I'm looking at a team who Tua is not the answer. They made a huge mistake, and my buddy made the point this week. Do you remember when everybody laughed when the Chargers took Lawrence over, or am I right? No, Herbert. I'm sorry, Herbert. I said Lawrence. And they took Herbert over too, and everybody said, "How could you do that?" Well, seems to be the smart move at this point, right?
Yeah.
But I look at this, and you saw what Flores could do when he had a quarterback that he had a lot of faith in, right? A lot of rumblings. People said, "Oh, he wanted to," and he never wanted to. Tua was never his guy. Now, did he back him public? Of course he did. The organization invested a lot in him. Mm-hmm. That's what a good head coach is going to do. He's going to back his quarterback, and put him in a position to try to succeed. However, he's just not the guy. Jalen Hurts is looking a lot better than him right now. That's for sure. And I look at it, and you removed a head coach who has put back-to-back winning seasons, who has time and again disrupted New England's playoff hopes over the last couple of years. Really, one year they kept them out, I believe, or they sent them a couple of times. They sent them, cost them division this year. Last 2 years ago or 2 years ago, his first year, they knocked them out of a bye week, which was Tom Brady's final week the following week where they lost. That was his final game with New England. And that was all because of, Brian Flores getting these guys to buy in. Now, the general manager and his personnel decisions have continued to be an issue. And apparently there was an internal struggle. We know about internal struggles, guys, right? So apparently Flores wanted to have more say in personnel decisions, wanted to have more say wanted to have more say in his coaching staff, right? I think he wanted to actually turn over some of the guys on the coaching staff, and the general manager and the owner didn't want to give him that. Now, there's some things I saw that in a report, it's a report, so we don't know what's true fully or not, that I thought was a little eccentric that he was requesting. But again, we don't know how bad it is in that organization to be like, listen, I'm going to turn this around, but this is what you got to do for me because you're not doing it for me. So you got to let me do this. But another case of an owner who has the right intentions, and he really does. I'll give this to Stephen Ross. He always has the right intentions. I don't think he's like a. That's why I say he's like the nice guy version of Jerry Jones. I don't think that he tries to dabble too much, but I think he thinks he knows more than he does.
Right.
And his lack of intelligence for the game of football has been very clear since he's taken over ownership of his football team. And he continues to pull the wrong strings. And now, to me, you got a head coach, right, who a lot of times when these guys lose their jobs, even if they were top candidates, they got to go back to coordinator positions and rebuild their stock. This guy's already at the top of people's coaching lists.
Yep.
He's going to get a head coaching job going into next season, 100%. And I think it's going to be a huge, huge miss, again, for an organization that now has to start from scratch, that has to find another new head coach and coaching staff, and now you got to get a whole team to buy in again. And, I mean, it's just it blows my freaking mind that this organization, they're very hard to like. I hate to say it because they are very hard to like, but they don't do themselves any favors for them or for their fan base.
Nope.
It's frustrating. So how do I feel about the Flores signing? Awful move. Awful move. There has to be some semblance of a middle that they could have met at. But it sounds to me like much of what we experienced here with Doug, they wanted a yes man. And Brian Flores is not a yes man. He's not, especially from a general manager. At least Howie won a Super Bowl. From a general manager that has no credentials to stand up in front of this guy who has been a part of Super Bowl winning coaching staff. It blows my mind that they get this close. And what really drives me crazy, guys, apparently from on other reports, is they had made this decision 4 weeks before the season ended.
Wow.
So why do you wait until the end of the year and leave him in that role and then the team goes and wins 8 of 9 games down the stretch? 8 of 9 games down the stretch. Wow. At that point, to me, if you don't pull the trigger when you think this decision was already made, and you don't think you're making the playoffs, then that's on you. It makes you look bad. Because guess what? This guy bought in. They said there's a report that some of the younger players, that the veterans, he treated the veterans differently. Well, you know what? If that's true, I got no problem with that. He's going to push your ass. All right? We're not going to be soft here and live the Miami life and come in here and lollygag. You know what I mean? Yeah. These veterans earn that respect. So if he expects you to play at a certain level and put a certain effort in, even in practice, guess what? Do it. Doesn't matter. Like, this is like, these guys are soft now. If that's true, these guys are soft. You don't hear any of the veterans talking bad about them. Veterans loved them.
Yep.
Loved them. It's all these young cats. So it's not the NFL we grew up on, guys. That's for sure.
It couldn't have bothered Jalen Waddle that much because Jalen Waddle
had a phenomenal year.
With
a shitty quarterback.
Yeah, and that's the craziest thing. Stephen Ross wanted to live and die on that hill that he wanted Deshaun. Maybe it's because he wanted Deshaun. He just maybe wasn't sold on Tua. And for Stephen Ross, and I think what's the GM there? Chris Greer, is that his name?
That's something like that, yeah.
To tie their ship to Tua, and like I'm looking at these other head coaching candidates, like who else are you like? You just because you can't get along with him, like be careful what you wish for because you may not find somebody better to replace him. Especially when he was a defensive-minded coach, and then the defensive side of the ball is the strongest part of your team. Like I don't.
Who Pete? Who's gonna want to take it? And I'm
who's gonna want to take that job, right?
Who wants to take that job with the owner and the GM, with the relationship that they have, everybody knows what's going on. It's very easily they're going to have to do, I guess, what the Eagles did and find someone who's a young guy who is just trying to get his beak wet and willing to go in. And I guess, maybe they can find another, Sirianni or somebody like that. But you had the guy in place. You had the guy in place. I believe so much that Brian Flores is going to be. He has the potential to be the best coach coming off of the Bill Belichick tree. And I truly believe that because a lot of them aren't successful head coaches. Yeah. Most of them are not successful head coaches. There's something about this guy. And for that team to turn around the way that they did, and with minimal talent for a while, it says a lot to me. And the fact that they wouldn't pull the trigger when they made the decision and let him coach that team to 8 of 9 wins down the stretch shows you the dysfunction in the organization.
Yeah, because it fucked up our draft pick, man.
Well, maybe that was their intention. Hey, we don't want to give the Eagles a better draft. Let's let him coach it. He'll win a few games. He'll fall short of the playoffs. So let's let him win a few games so we keep, we give him less of the round or whatever. Right. It's just a joke. I don't know. That you want my opinion? It's a joke. They're a joke, and I'm still gonna hope that they do well next year. But I am very, very disappointed, and I shouldn't be because this is Stephen Ross's. This is his shtick. This is what happens every 3 or 4 years. We go through the same exact thing. Problem is, this time you had the guy in place.
Yeah.
And you saw the results on the field as opposed to before. But no, let's just turn it around and do it all again. Fucking idiot. That's my first curse on here in a while. I've been doing real good without cursing.
Well, when people do stupid shit, you got to call them to the carpet. It's just 2 10-6 seasons back to back. You start 1-7, and you win the next 7 games.
Like, even reading that report, it was a little eccentric, some of the things that he sounds like he wanted. But at the same time, like, that organization is so dysfunctional, and it has been for 20-plus years, that, like, I don't even have a problem with him asking for all of it or saying that's what I need. You gave me 3 years to try to figure it out. Now we're in year 3. I have improved every year with this football team. You gave me a quarterback I don't want. And it's not even like he came into this the same year the quarterback arrived. He was already there. They just took the quarterback. So I'm telling you, everyone who thinks, I've heard people say he wanted to. No, he didn't. Yeah. It's known he didn't want to it. And more reports are coming out now. That was a big point of contention between him and upper management, was he never wanted Tua. Never wanted. But he always, that's a good head coach, always supported him and always backed him publicly. Never said anything otherwise publicly, and still hasn't.
Nope. He'll get a job.
Yeah, he'll get a job.
I just wanted. He was in such a great place.
Yeah, I know.
No income tax.
I mean, I like Sirianni, but then we could have hired him here. I mean,
I know. All right, let's get to the last game. That was. I'm glad I got your input on that. I didn't know they were thinking about it for the last since.
Yeah, me either. That's the first time I heard that.
He was a lame duck for 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's crazy. Last game of the wild card round, Rams Cardinals. Thoughts on that? Another a divisional matchup.
I don't like the fact that they moved it to Monday night. I don't get the point for that. I think that's dumb.
When would
trying to maximize ratings?
Give me 3
advertising.
Exactly. Give me 3 games on Saturday.
Monday night prime time.
On Saturday.
Yeah, Monday night beats Saturday at 1.
Three primetime bucks, and that everybody knows advertising and everything else, and viewership. They pay all that big money for primetime.
Yeah.
I don't think the playoffs should ever be played on a Monday, though.
Exactly. Unless it's baseball. Baseball Monday night World Series.
I'm saying you're right. I'm saying NFL though. Like considering what these guys put themselves through already, you need to give them more chance at recuperation. Now, I don't care for it. Not at all.
No. But I like the Cardinals in this game, man.
So do I.
Banged up Cardinals. I
don't give a shit. You know why? Because listen, McVay's asshole reared his ugly head in the second half last week. Because honestly, truth be told, there should be no fucking way the 49ers was in the game. There should be no way the 49ers won that game last week. But McVay put it on cruise control.
But No, it wasn't. I'll tell you what happened.
Go ahead.
Kyle Shanahan is Sean McVay's daddy. That's what happened.
Exactly.
That's what happened.
And Cliff Kingsbury is slowly becoming his daddy too. He's becoming his fucking uncle. What happened the first time they played in LA this year? The Rams they shut the bed. And Stafford, even now, Stafford's still not. He's still not. Stafford played better in Detroit with nothing else than what he's played with this year with talent.
It started
first half of the year he was great.
Yeah.
Right.
Second half of the year they started to hit. They started to hit a slump. They started hitting something. Now, what I will say, if him and OBJ can get on a better, if they can start connecting a little bit, that opens up a lot more. And plus, I can't believe this guy's back. This is a miracle he's back. Cam Akers, if he is like 80-90% of what he is, that is a huge addition for them too. Because Cam Akers at full health is their best.
Is JJ coming back?
JJ Watt? Yes, I believe so.
And any word on Hopkins yet?
It's still, if he comes back, they said conference championship game at the earliest if he comes back.
Ooh. I still like the Cardinals. I'm not a believer in McVay and Stafford doing it when it counts.
I'm not either. I don't, and I love Kyler. I love Kyler Murray. And obviously with Zach Ertz there, I'm rooting for Zach. So like I love the Cardinals team. I just not having Hopkins there really worries me. Okay. Because they're not the same offense without Hopkins. They're just not. If they had Hopkins, I'm taking Cardinals all day. But without Hopkins, I feel like the Rams can win this in a really tight game. I don't want to say they can win on talent alone because I think they have the better roster. But like with it being a divisional game, it's going to be tight. But I think the Rams are just too good, so I think the Rams will win. But I will be rooting for the Cardinals.
Okay.
I like Arizona because we're never ones to shy away from, taking our hits. And I was not a believer in Kyler when he got drafted. I thought he was too small. I didn't think he would last. I thought he should have went to baseball. However, he's definitely proven me wrong. Guy's a playmaker. Guy is a baller. I think that he's going to be a difference maker, like Pete said, whether he has Hopkins or not. And I've never been a believer in Matt Stafford. You guys know this.
Yes.
He has to prove me otherwise. And you know what? First half of the year, I thought he was doing it. I thought maybe there was something to the Detroit thing. But I'm looking at him now, and I still stand by until he proves me otherwise and does something in the playoffs against. And this is a tough team that they're playing. If they can pull this game out, and he has a good game, I might change my tune a little bit on Stafford. But to me, he's still just a fantasy quarterback that people think he's good because he gets them fantasy points in fantasy football. Yeah. But I'm not a believer in Stafford either. I think Arizona wins this game.
I'd love to see it. I definitely would love to see it. All right. Chrome, are you sticking with us? Are you heading out?
I can hang for a little bit longer.
Hang for a little bit? All right. Let's get your input. So we're going to go now, guys. I know it's a little delayed, but we are still getting to this third quarter, and it's brought to you by hold on. I have the read here. Our third quarter is brought to you by Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. They've got 2 locations, guys, Burlington and Cherry Hill. So they're local. Make them yours. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. Let's get into the Birds of a Feather All-Pro team. So I've done research. You got to know that. Of course I'm
just gonna hang for this because
definitely Chrome, you can be like
chime in when you want.
You can be like chime in when you want, but like if me and Pete disagree on our picks, you can be kind of like the deciding third vote if you like. And the chat too. Guys in the chat, give your input on it because what's gonna happen is we're gonna go position by position. We're gonna create a consensus all-pro team for the show. And if me and Pete are in disagreement of who and what player should go, then it's up to you guys and up to Chrome to help us decide. Doing my research, looking at the positions, a lot of it, I'd say like half of it is chalk. Like it's really easy, but there are some where I'm like iffy on. So I'm open to suggestions, open to discussion, but we're going to do it this way. Chrome, Pete, it's going to be the same way we did the all NFC East team. So in terms of just putting the best 11 on the field. So when it pertains more to the defense, whether you want to run a 4-3 or a 3-4 or nickel, 3 safeties or whatnot, it all depends on just which 11 players you want to put on the field. So let's go with offense. Start with quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is my pick.
Yep.
Good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really easy. He's MVP. Easy. Running back. This should be easy too. Jonathan Taylor. Good. So far, so good. I mean,
no Miles.
Bitch.
Of course not Miles. Miles is grounded. Miles is grounded, guys. Miles is grounded. Tired of him getting little boo boos. Tired of him getting little boo boos here and there and being out. All right. So, do you guys want to give any input, by the way, on Rodgers and Taylor? Like any blurbs real quick before we move on? Like, I
mean, Jonathan Taylor, his season was unbelievable this year.
It ended like shit, but
yeah. But
take that out. I mean, regardless, though, I mean, phenomenal year for him. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there's nothing more to add to that.
When I watch Aaron Rodgers weekly, like he makes throws where I'm like, holy crap, that's amazing. But then at the same time, I'm like, why am I surprised? It's Aaron Rodgers. Like all these like back shoulder dimes where he's putting it in the one spot where it needs to go and he makes it look effortless. I'm like, that's like high level shit. And it's just normal for him. It's crazy. All right. So that's easy. This next one should be easy too, or at least
you going offensive line next?
I did wide receiver.
Okay.
I went to wide receiver. So we're going to wide receiver. Now again, we could do 2 or 3 depending on who you want to put in, but
I did 3.
You did 3. I did 3 too. All right, I did 3 as well. So one of them, Devontae Adams. Good. The second one, Cooper Kupp. Okay, that's easy. The third one, I think this was where we get interesting. Third one, I'm putting Deebo Samuel. I'm putting Deebo. Look at his yards from scrimmage.
I'm in between because
look at his yards from scrimmage, and remember impact as a runner and a receiver.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. But then I look at the year, Jamar Chase had, and to me, I mean that's historic.
That's the other one. Yeah, that's the other one I was debating.
I almost am more inclined to put in Jamar Chase specifically because his year was historic. It's one of the greatest seasons of all time by a rookie wide receiver.
See, and that's where I was torn between like 3 or 4 guys. I was looking at Chase, I was looking at Stephon Diggs, looking at Tyreek Hill, even looked at Justin Jefferson.
Jefferson.
You see what I'm saying? So it's at that point it was like take your pick. But as far as putting the best 3 on there, if I'm just looking at them playing the wide receiver position, yes, he should have.
I'm never gonna get over that one. Even more than DK, I'm never getting over Justin Jefferson.
Right. I went with Tyreek Hill just because of what the other.
You went Tyreek.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna go Jamar.
Not over to. I mean, if I'm just looking at what we already have at the other 2, Devontae Cooper, and I'm looking for just a straight burner, and this who is elite at what they do in the league, regardless of. And I gotta go Tyreek.
Oh, okay. So this is where it's gonna get tough. So
this is where we all have 3 different people. So this is where the fam has to chime in.
Yeah, fam. If it's between Tyreek and between Deebo, so between them 2
and Chase, I threw in.
And he said, Chrome said Chase.
Them 3. Who do you think should get the 3rd spot? Chase, Deebo, or Tyreek? We'll go off with offensive linemen, and we'll get back to see what they say. I know that Don says Jamar Chase. All right, so he votes for Chase. Dynasty says Chase. All right, so let's see what other people say. Let's go to offensive linemen. I think at left tackle, or I didn't delineate the sides. I just put like 2 offensive tackles, 2 guards, and a center. But I think one of them has to be. There's no way you can leave out Trent Williams. Trent Williams is playing at another level out of any offensive tackle in the league this year. Like he's insane what he does. So no matter what, Trent Williams has to be on there.
So you're not giving him an act. You're just putting him at a tackle spot.
Yeah, that's the way I do. Unless you want to delineate and distinguish left and right. But I'm putting Trent Williams. I will fight people. Trent Williams is doing things that it's silly how dominant he's been at left tackle this year. It's absolutely silly. Absolutely silly. Brandon Thorne, he's an expert when it comes to offensive linemen. He all year has been raving nonstop about Trent Williams. The stuff that he does, he makes it look simple. He makes it look easy. He hasn't let up a sack all year. And in the run games, he's pancaking people. Like left and right. So Trent Williams,
I'll give you that as one. But then that makes me my tackle is one of my tackles is Bakhtiari. That's the other tackle out of Green Bay.
Bakhtiari?
Yes.
Okay. I would have went either Lane, Rashawn Slater, or Tristan Wirfs. Bakhtiari hasn't been getting mentioned a lot, but you want to go Bakhtiari.
I mean, are we I don't think it's a homer thing. Are we ignoring Jordan Mailata in this conversation?
No.
I mean, top tier. I know he's your son.
But PFF has him as the second highest rated left tackle in the NFL this year. So he's in the conversation. We're going by this year, right? We're going by this year.
Yeah. All pro this year. All pro. Yeah.
He's in that conversation.
Well, okay.
He's top 2 or 3 this season at his position.
PFF.
He's in the conversation.
Yes, and it's funny because I did pull up PFF's list of all-pro people, and for left tackle, they did put Jordan Mailata as second-team all-pro behind Trent Williams. So, I mean, if you take it, I don't know who puts credence into PFF, but they do have him that high. Now, they do have Trent Williams as and Pete, their blurb here for Williams, by the way, it says, Williams was the best player in football this season, regardless of position. That's their opening.
You taught me into my 2 tackles are Williams and Bakhtiari. Those are my 2 tackles.
There are other tackles that they mentioned on the right side. They mentioned Wirfs and Lane Johnson.
Wirfs is good. Lane is good.
Yeah, as long as Trent Williams is in there, I'll go with whoever you want at offensive tackle.
I mean, you guys are the experts, so I'm going to go with what you guys say. But I'm just going to say, if we're eliminating the distinction of left or right, I'm putting Mailata over Lane in consideration in this conversation.
Yeah, I think Mailata's been the best tackle on our team.
Okay.
So, but you guys listen, this is a position you guys are definitely much more educated on than me. I'm going to go with whoever you guys pick. Pete, you made the decision on the second guy. There you go.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go Bakhtiari. That's a bit of a shocker to me. I didn't think that Bakhtiari.
He's been doing it for so long. You don't even.
You don't. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I think the other guys have outplayed him this year, but he's on the Packers. I'm not going to disagree too much against that. All right, offensive guard at guard.
Okay.
We know it's Zach Martin has to be one of them. We know Zach Martin has to be one of them.
Oh, do we, Pete?
Pete, you disagree? He's been dominant. He's still arguably the best offensive guard in the league. I don't know how you can not put Zach Martin as one of them.
What side does he play? Right?
He plays right.
I mean, there is one guy that I could argue for him instead.
Who are you going to argue for?
Brandon Scherf. Washington.
Scherf has been good, but not as good as Martin. And I would put – so I've been talking about at the other guard position, we're going Martin 1, right?
Oh, you already know who the left guard is.
Who?
Quentin.
You want to put Quentin? Because I was going to say it's between Quentin, Joe Thuney, Joel Bitonio. Yeah, those 3. So that's who the 3 I had like consideration for the other guard spot.
Right.
So if you want to go Quentin, we can go Quentin.
I'll go
Quentin Nelson. Sorry, I'm keeping track of this.
Okay.
Because Frank's going to do another. He's going to make another graphic for.
As long as he doesn't pop in here in fucking ascot garb, I'm all right.
All right. And then center.
Ooh.
I really, really wanted to put Kelsey here.
Right.
I wanted to be a homer and put Kelsey, but Creed Humphrey has been the best center all year.
Okay.
In the league. And if you go to every single major sites all-pro pick. Creed Humphrey is unanimous out of all of them. Brandon Thorne put Creed Humphrey no, he put Ryan Jensen, but Creed Humphrey was.
I like Humphrey. I like Jensen. I like Lindsley.
Or Lindsay's good too.
I even like Bradbury. I like centers. Centers are there's a lot of good ones right now. I mean, for us, Kelsey holds a near dear place in our hearts. But I mean, Creed Humphrey, he's a rookie, if I'm not mistaken.
He's a rookie. I know. And then the fact that him and Rashawn Slater have been turning it up, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. So I think Creed Humphrey should be the pick. Okay. All right. So let's go back. Let me see who else. So I know we got a few Debo.
There's a couple of Debo. There's one person that agreed with me.
Womack said Chase. Womack said Chase. Mike Stevenson said Debo. Middlebrook said Hill. Dynasty said Chase. That's it. So Don said Chase. So okay, we're gonna go Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase.
All right, so Jamar Chase in there over Debo. So it's close. I have no problem with Jamar Chase either. He was like right behind Debo to me. So we'll go Jamar Chase. All right, so defense. This is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets freaking interesting. All right. So let's start with edge. All right. Now remember, depending on what scheme you want to run a three-man defensive lineman, or you want to go with 4. But if you start with edge, I think the 2 guys I put were Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. I was really tempted with TJ Watt to sub him out with Nick Bosa, but I can't ignore TJ Watt broke the sack record, and that's impressive. I mean, he broke the sack record, and he was hurt too for several games. So I had to give him. I felt like I had to give him that the honor. So I went Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. I don't know if you had anyone else.
No, I just caught the score of the OKC and Brooklyn game. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So, OKC's up by 17 at the end of the third. I don't know what's going on there. No, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett. You know, I'm with that. I can't. I mean, you can make arguments, but no.
Okay. All right. And then defensive tackle, or interior, of course Aaron Donald's going to be there. And then on the inside, or with him, if we're going to go with a second defensive tackle, there's a lot of people. So just to mention names, you've got Jeffrey Simmons, Vita Vea, who we talked about in the first segment. Obviously, Javon Hargraves is in a great year. Cameron Hayward, another great year. But the guy I went with was Chris Jones. I think Chris Jones, ever since they moved him back to inside exclusively, he's been a beast, an absolute beast. So I went with Chris Jones. I don't know if you'd want to go with someone else.
Yeah, that's the 2 I thought of.
Yeah,
I approve.
Good. Okay. So far, so good. We haven't had much disagreement.
Oh, it's about to come now.
I'll tell you that. I feel like at linebacker and corner, it's going to have some heat. All right, so we went with 4 down linemen.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start off with 2 linebackers. Okay, I did 2 linebackers.
Okay.
The first linebacker, I can't not put Micah Parsons.
Okay. Okay, we may not have an issue. Okay.
Oh, okay. You thought I was not going to put Micah? Of course, I'm going to put Micah Parsons in there.
Yeah.
You have to put Micah Parsons in there. So I put Micah Parsons. Now the second one, I keep going back and forth. So this is where I want your input, guys, because I don't know who to pick. You've got Darius Leonard, Fred Warner, Devondre Campbell. Who, Pete? Remember 2 years ago I wanted Devondre Campbell in free agency, and now he's tearing it up on the Packers.
Pisses me off.
My God, So Devondre Campbell, Roquan Smith, Eric Kendricks, Bobby Wagner, Demario Davis. I feel like they're all worthy of consideration. Right. I don't know who I'd go. So I'm gonna leave it up to you guys because I could go with any of them.
I did 3. So I went Parsons, Leonard, Warner. Those are my 3.
Leonard and Warner. Okay, so you went 3 linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
Who did you go less on? How many corners did you mention?
I did 2 corners.
I did 3 corners.
You did 3 corners. Okay.
So let's put. So you went Fred Warner and You
So do 3 linebackers, 3 corners.
You want to do 3 corners and then 1 safety?
I got no problem with Pete's 3.
Then we'll do 1 safety then. You want to do 1 safety then?
Yeah, you do 1 safety. I think 1 safety. Yeah, 1 safety. I can do that.
Okay. All right. So Fred Warner and Darius Leonard. Okay. So we going heavy. We're going like base package.
Well, Parsons is just the fucking. He's a chess piece.
He's insane. He's insane.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Secondary. This is where it's get juicy. How many corners did you go with, Pete?
2.
You went 2 corners.
But now we're gonna go 3 quarters and 1 safety. So
yeah, I went with 3 corners. So I want you to say it. I want you to say your corners because I feel like I'm gonna catch heat here. So
really?
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna catch heat. So you say it first because I want to see what you say.
So obviously Ramsey.
Yeah.
First corner. Okay. And second one for me this year, what I've seen down there where Chrome's boys is at, Xavier Howard.
But Xavier, okay. I didn't consider him.
I like it a lot.
Now, if you were going to go a third corner, who would you pick? Or do you want me to mention my 3?
No, not yet. Okay. I'm trying to put myself inside your head.
Because we agree on Ramsey, so he's my CB1. That's easy. Yeah. Because the 2 guys that I have, one is on a bad team. One is on a bad team, so he doesn't get spotted. But you can argue this guy has been the best corner outside of Jalen Ramsey in the whole league.
What division does he play in?
NFC South.
You talking about Lattimore?
No. This guy's been better. It's a name that you probably he's not a household name because he's young. He's very, very young, but he has been lights out.
He probably plays for Carolina. I know you're talking about. I think he plays for Carolina.
No.
Okay.
No, bad team. Well, Carolina's a bad team.
I'm about to say Carolina is a fucking bad team.
Yeah, Carolina's a bad team.
Oh, okay. I know you're talking about. You're talking about AJ Terrell.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
AJ Terrell.
Terrell. Yeah, he did have a good season this year.
Yeah, the monster season. Just doesn't. Atlanta's not good, so he doesn't get.
Right. No, I can. Now that you say that, I can see that. I'm comfortable with AJ Terrell, Ramsey, and Howard. I like that a lot.
Okay, so I had this name is not the one that was going to catch heat, but the third guy I had was J.C. Jackson because he has a lot of picks and he's been excellent.
Man, he still let Rager catch that one-handed ball in
That's true. He did. But the reason why I said it because I think the fact that we left out Trayvon Diggs is going to catch a lot of heat. Like I think because Trayvon Diggs has 11 picks, so I left him off. I legit considered him. I was like, 11 picks is 11 picks. Like that's 11 interceptions. He's a playmaker, but it was between him and J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson has 8 interceptions, but J.C. Jackson has been more sound against the run and better in coverage. He doesn't give as much blown plays.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I think about Trayvon Diggs. When I think about the top 3 that we have, I don't see them getting beat on double moves and giving up 7.
Yeah,
you see, like Trayvon gambles too much. Now the picks and the stats is good, but at the end of the day, like if I need to play and I'm lining up those four dudes, Ramsey, Howard, Terrell, and Diggs, I'm more comfortable throwing against Diggs.
Because of aggressiveness.
Because of the aggressiveness. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. If I need a completion and I'm going against those 4, I feel more comfortable going against Diggs out of the rest of those 4.
I do too. I kind of do too. Yeah. And remember last year, Chrome, how many picks did Howard have last year? He had a ton last year.
He had a shitload. He had a shitload. Dude just finds the ball, bro.
Yeah. He's good. Okay, so those are 3. Now we have 1 spot left. We have the safety. Who did you put at safety? Because there are a lot of names here too.
At safety,
Budda Baker.
Yeah. I knew you were going to mention your boy Budda, who is part of the conversation. Yeah. He's not who I picked, but he's absolutely.
I actually like the other kid too that plays with him. I forget his name.
The Cardinals. I forget his.
It's a young kid, another Washington State kid. Like their whole fucking secondary is from Washington, like the Pac-12. I forget, but I like Trayvon Holland as well.
Don did say he didn't mention
Falcons.
Yeah, he did say it.
No, but my pick was Buda Baker, so I can't really.
You went Buda Baker?
Yeah.
Okay, I went Kevin Byard, but I think Kevin Byard for the Titans has just been lights out. I think he's been the best safety in the league. It was close between. I had Byard and Simmons, with a really close between Derwin James, but Buda Baker was not far behind them either. So like, if you want to put Buda Baker over Byard, I wouldn't agree, but if I'm going to get outruled, would do Buda Baker.
Yeah, like I've seen Buda be used this year, blitzing. He's been every level of the field and just makes plays, man. Like and his story is good. Like he's been through a lot, and it's just getting better and better.
It's one of my sons.
He is.
There was a time not that long ago when we did a COVID show where we picked teams.
Yeah.
And when the safety came around and I took Buda Baker and everybody said, Buda Baker? And I said, dude is a fucking baller.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I have my own bragging rights, Chrome, because the same thing happened to me when I picked Debo. When I picked Debo, everyone was on me about picking Debo.
Except for me, because I'm a Debo guy.
Yes, yeah, except for you. So okay, so let's recap. I like our team. I disagree with stuff here and there, but I like our team. So we got QB Aaron Rodgers, running back we got Jonathan Taylor, wide receiver we got Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, and Jamar Chase. Oh, we didn't do tight end. That's the other one. We skipped over tight end. So tight end.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it has to be Mark Andrews because he was statistically the best.
Mark Andrews was a pimp this year.
Yeah,
absolute pimp.
And even after he had a slow start, but yeah, he had a bad QB too in the past few weeks, and he still put up monster numbers. I went Mark Andrews. I would also consider George Kittle. Those are the two I would consider. So I don't know what your take was, Pete.
Andrews. I mean, if Kittle's healthy, yeah. I mean, if you're just looking at the tight end position as far as a mismatch, just do everything but block. I mean, you gotta say 87 out of Kansas City, just because I just think he's one of the biggest mismatch. But if Kittle's on his game, on his shit, then yeah, I think Kittle's the best tight end in the league. But Andrews is getting out there. I just wish he would have caught the 2-point conversion. I'm so mad Pittsburgh is in the fucking playoffs, bro. They had so many chances not to be in the playoffs.
I know.
Yeah. Crazy.
They really tried to do their best to not get into the playoffs. They did everything they could to not get in the playoffs. Man. They really tried to make it so Ben was like done. The Ben era was done.
Yeah.
No, I mean, for me, you got to go by this year, right? If we're making an all-pro team for this year.
Yeah, for this year.
Mark Andrews was the guy this year. It's not even there's no question. And I mean, Kelsey's always in the conversation. George Kittle's always in the conversation, but you got to give credit where it's due. It's got to be Mark Andrews.
Exactly. Yeah, I felt like I don't think he's the best tight end overall. Like Pete said, I would give the nod to George Kittle. But in terms of just who had the best season, and plus Mark Andrews was healthy all season.
Yeah,
he didn't miss a game. That he gets credit for that. So
and he had the worst. I mean, like you guys mentioned, right? Like we know he had Lamar for a lot of the year, but he also, when Lamar went out, he had by far, very easily, the worst worst quarterback throwing to him, and he put up some of his best numbers for the season.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
you can't ignore that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so tight end we have Mark Andrews, offensive tackle we have Trent Williams and Bakhtiari. At guard we've got Quentin Nelson and Zach Martin. Center we got Creed Humphrey. At edge on defense we've got Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt. On the interior, we've got Aaron Donald and Chris Jones. At linebacker, we went 3 heavy. We got Micah Parsons, Fred Warner, Darius Leonard. At defensive back, we went 3 corners. Jalen Ramsey, A.J. Terrell, Xavier Howard. And with 1 safety, we've got Buda
Baker, baby.
Buda Baker. All right, guys. So that is our all-pro team for the Birds of Feather. Pete, let's get into our final quarter. Let's finish this off. What you got for us?
No Huddle is brought to you by Fourth Quarter, Gleason's Bars, located at 6700 Mill Creek Avenue. in Levittown, PA. Use promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, or order online. Online, you can find them at Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com. Fourth quarter, no huddle. It is what it is. Whatever you want to talk about.
I want to mention some. Think of all the wild card games for the past, let's say, like 20 years.
I got two.
What are some of your favorite ones?
Ooh.
Yeah,
there's two.
Go ahead. If you got two of them, go ahead.
Well, I mean, number one on everybody's list should be the Music City Miracle.
Oh,
that's the greatest wild card game with the greatest finish. One of the greatest finishes in NFL history, let alone a wild card game.
Yep.
You got to add that in there.
Yep.
And for me, I look at 2009. You look at the matchup of Kurt Warner versus Aaron Rodgers in an absolute shootout.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was That was a game where Aaron Rodgers fumbled. I think Dansby ran it back for a touchdown, if I'm correct, on defense. But either way, I look at two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and I love Kurt Warner. I think Kurt Warner is such an underrated guy because of where he came from. He's just not talked about enough. But Kurt Warner was a winner, and he was excellent.
He's got a movie coming out.
With Zachary Levi. Yep.
Yeah, and when you look at his career, right, it was the greatest show on turf. And did he struggle a little bit in New York? Of course he did. But when he went out to Arizona, he showed that he was a baller. And then you put him against Aaron Rodgers. Oh, I mean, it was, to me, that was one of the most fun matchups. And again, you just watched two quarterbacks sling it. They put almost 100 points up on the board in that game.
Yeah.
Actually, they may have put 100 points. I don't remember what the final score was, but I think it was close to 100 points in that game.
It was a lot.
You look at that, I mean, to me, it's easily one of the most memorable games with two of the greatest quarterbacks of their generation.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Aaron Rodgers, to me, is the best dude I've ever seen play the quarterback position. Not the best quarterback, the best one I've ever seen at the position as far as just talent, throwing the ball, making it look effortless to release a 5-yard throw, a 50-yard throw. The arm motion all looks the fucking
and
same.
You remember how athletic he was earlier in his career. He was a runner. Like, he's athletic. Now, he's not the same, doesn't have the same athleticism now, but earlier in his career, too, he was a true dual threat. So, yeah, he had, in terms of talent, to me, he's the most talented.
That's why it's so hard when you talk about the GOAT conversation, right? Because Tom Brady is the GOAT, right? He has the rings.
Yep.
He's probably the greatest winner when you talk about guys that are just gamers and winners and find ways to win football and take teams on his back, essentially, and carry. To me, Tom Brady's the greatest. But when you look at pure skills, Aaron Rodgers is in that conversation. Peyton Manning in his prime is in that conversation.
Dan Marino.
I mean, to me, these guys are head and shoulders above guys like a Joe Montana and whatnot. That's why I always say, and it's not me being a homer, I say this legitimately. When I look at Dan Marino, if he had half the talent that some of these guys like a Joe Montana had, he may have won more rings. To me, Dan Marino in his prime maybe was a little bit ahead of his time, man. You put him on the teams today, like before he ended up having that Achilles injury that kind of basically took his mobility away. Mm-hmm. I mean, I look at like an Aaron Rodgers. He reminds me a lot.
His arm was nuts.
Of a Dan Marino.
Yeah. His arm was
nuts. I mean, these guys now, like Aaron Rodgers, to me, it's just unbelievable. Like you said, Chucks, you watch the things that this guy continues to do on the football field. And again, I marvel at Tom Brady, but I marvel at it too because part of it is his age and his ability to stay durable. But he has, to me, more mistakes on the football field than you see an Aaron Rodgers. It's just pure. It's just so easy watching Aaron Rodgers play the football.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it's starting to get like that with Justin Herbert too. Just Justin Herbert's arm talent is just.
Justin Herbert's insane. His arm is insane.
It's otherworldly. It's otherworldly. No, Cronin, you were right to speak on that game. Was 51-45 in overtime.
Yeah,
I thought they put almost put 100 points.
Yeah, 100 points almost.
Yeah, so Music City Miracles won. Cronin, I know you talk about 09. We've seen it brought up the Indy comeback over the Chiefs 45-44 in 2013.
That was crazy too.
For me, I'm going to go to the OG comeback, and I'm going back to 92 Buffalo Bills versus Houston Oilers, Frank Wright's comeback, wild card weekend. It doesn't get any better than that, bro. For me, you know what I mean? Out there on the turf, cold Buffalo Sunday. And that for me. That's, to me, personal nostalgia wise, that takes precedent over Music City Miracle. Just for me, I would think Music City Miracle is one of the best games regardless.
That was
not
insane.
Even wild card, whatever. Just one of the best games. But speaking, Frank Wright's comeback in 93 season, but 92 season, but 93, January 93, which is shit. That's 29 years ago. God dang.
Oh God. For me, there's two I want to mention in terms of in terms of my personal favorite, like from experience and looking back. The first one was you guys know, but anyone listening who doesn't know, when I was a kid, my earliest football memories as a kid were one, Barry Sanders on Thanksgiving. Watching him on Thanksgiving, he got me into loving the running back position. But the other favorite player I loved watching was Jerry Rice, and so. In the 90, if you guys remember the 98-99 playoffs, the wild card round, Niners versus Packers, this was towards the twilight of Jerry Rice's career. So I was still following Jerry Rice, I was watching all of his games. And so I was watching this intently as a kid. I remember being in my parents' room, just glued to the television. This was, I think, T.O.'s rookie season or second year. He was still young. And they had
I think this is rookie season.
Yeah, it was classic showdown between Steve Young and Brett Favre, Niners, Packers. And, as we all know it, the catch, they label it as the catch too. Like that was it. It's insane because if they had instant replay back then, the Packers would have won because Jerry Rice fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
After 2 minutes. But they didn't. It was ruled, he was ruled down. And then, as history, and the rest is history. Terrell Owens, he caught it. I remember going crazy. I was like, yeah, because I was never the biggest Brett Favre fan.
Right.
And I wanted Jerry Rice again to win. I was big Jerry Rice fan, big Barry Sanders fan. So that was one memory. And then my favorite wild card game is obviously the 06-07 wild card game, Eagles and Giants. If you remember Jeff Garcia, that was the best game that Brian Westbrook ever had. Over 100 yards rushing. He carried that offense, that game, to a playoff win. And that was just the most memorable to me. I was watching it with my family and my cousins, and we went nuts when Akers hit that game-winning field goal. And people don't remember, the Eagles were winning by like 10. The Giants came back late, and on the ensuing drive, it turned out to be the last drive of the game, Brian Westbrook just ran down the field. He ran all over the Giants defense. They couldn't stop him. So he came up clutch, got him in field goal position, and Akers hit the game-winning field goal. That was, to me, my favorite personal wild card game memory, and it always sticks with me. But yeah, those were I remember them like they were yesterday. They were
honorable mention, double doink. I did forget about that. I forgot that
was
Double
doink. That's a good one.
Double doink. Who remembers? You guys remember also the Niners-Giants game where it was the Niners came back in the second half? I think that's when they still had Jeff Garcia too. And then at the end was when the Giants were about to kick a field goal. And then it was a botched snap. And then they threw the ball downfield, and there was a defensive pass interference that wasn't called. You guys remember that?
That's not ringing a bell for me.
That was in 2002, 2003.
Okay.
So it was early 2000s, but that was a crazy game too. That was high scoring. Anyone in the chat, I don't know if you guys remember that one too. That was another good one. But Omar says Kaepernick rushing record in the divisional round in frozen touchdown. Yeah, I mean, we're talking wild card game, but that was another good game too. Yeah. Any other topics?
I don't know if we want to go down this road.
I don't know.
I'm curious how you guys feel that Indianapolis will not commit to Carson Wentz in 2022.
I mean,
you want to go down this road?
I mean, I don't know this late if we really want to go down that road, but it's fresh today. It's a topic.
We can touch on it. We can touch on it. I'll say this. I won't say much, but I'll say this.
Yeah.
I don't, unlike a lot of the people in this, like I don't really care. I don't have a hatred for Carson. Like I don't go out of my way to root for him. I liked the Colts before Carson got there. So like I liked what they were doing. I liked Jonathan Taylor. So I was rooting for the Colts, but not because of Carson. So right. I'm indifferent when it comes to Wentz. Like I wish him the best in what he does, just like I wish any other player. I think he's a good guy, but I damn sure am happy that we turned out to be right. Like we got rid of Wentz, and it does look like the injuries and his confidence level just taking so much of a hit that I don't think he's ever going to get close to what he was in 2017. I don't think he's as bad as he was last year in 2020, but at most you're getting what? You're getting an above average quarterback and who can have some good games here and there, but it is what it is. And
he had a good year this year overall.
He had a good year. Up until
did not have a great final week, which nobody on the Colts really did. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor earlier. Did not have a great final week.
Yeah.
My opinion on it. I like the guy, so I sort of feel bad for him, but he didn't do himself any favors. It's what we talk about all the time, right? The accountability is what you do on the football field.
Yep.
He had a chance to go to the play. If there was ever a gimme game to walk into the playoffs this week, that was as close as you could possibly have.
Oh, yeah.
But to be fair, Chrome, they have not won in Jacksonville since 2014.
I understand that.
I hear you.
But to me, that's
still won, yeah.
When you bring that stuff up, though, that's like –
it's an or.
I know it's ironic is what it is because we're not talking about the same team, same coaching staff, same personnel. It's different. It's just ironic. But like Carson wasn't going into the game saying, "Oh my God, we haven't won here since 2014." You know what I mean? That has nothing to do with anything. However, he didn't do himself any favors, and this is the situation he's in. On our side, I think it's time that people just kind of let this go. We benefited from it.
Yes, thank you.
We have benefited from it. We have them not getting in, by the way, helped us because we get the draft pick. This whole we have to, this Philly mentality that we have to continue to pile on and we're going to do this for years and years. Like, who cares? I honestly didn't even think about Carson really that much this year. When they were on, I didn't even go out of my way to go watch them. Because I don't care. He's not our quarterback anymore. I watched him. You know what I mean? If there's a better game on, I watch a better game. If they were the better game that was on TV, I watched it. But this whole we have to just continue to pile on as things go. It's ridiculous. And it's not just baseball or basketball. Jesus Christ. It's not just football. We do it in all sports. It's like, this guy goes here and they fell apart. Oh, who didn't see that coming? It's just, it's silly. It's time to move on. We have enough to focus on this year and going into next year when we look at the personnel decisions we're going to have to make for next year. Can we Carson's in the past. Can we get past that? Are we still going to hear about Bobby Hoying? Like these same motherfuckers going to keep bringing that stuff up. You still hear about Nick Foles.
Yep.
Oh God, yeah.
Enough. Did you see the thing in the news today?
I saw the conference. Yeah, they still talking about the whole Brady snub, ain't they? With the Super Bowl.
Snub that he didn't shake Nick Foles' hand.
Yeah,
come on, what? Who cares? Yeah. And I like this response. He laughed. I didn't even notice it. And he said, "You know what? I try to be a good sport, even though it sometimes doesn't look like because I get pissed off at myself." He said, "I've shaken Nick's hand a ton of times. I got a lot of respect for him." Who cares?
Well, he's not even on the team anymore. Just because of and you're not even on the same team when it happened.
I know.
No. Listen, if somebody pisses you guys off, do you always go and shake their hand after and be a good sport about it?
No.
Or if you're pissed at yourself.
Yep.
If you're pissed at yourself,
if you're pissed at yourself,
you always have the right frame of mind to immediately go, I got to go shake his hand. No, I don't want to hear that. Well, he's paid to be. Who fucking cares? He's a human being. Not a big deal. And he's right. He's shaking his hand a million times. This is what we do in here. This is what we do. All right, we got a playoff matchup this week against
we're talking about
team, And we're talking about a handshake from 3 or 4 years ago.
I know.
This is what we do here.
You're right though, because like it's the Philly fan base, so they're not going to forget about the Wentz thing.
Now that was the media, by the way, bringing that shit.
Yeah,
up.
I know.
But people still talk about it.
Yeah,
like the media bringing that.
Media fans like this Wentz thing isn't going to go away anytime soon because it's right, here. Right. It's Philly, but I've had it like before the season started, like when it was fresh off of the trade and everything. I was one of those. I was like, Carson Wentz is going to win the division, and I'm rooting for him. Like I'm in Carson's corner. But like when it got to like close to the season, I was just like, I really don't care. Like it's right. No. He's not here. I'm focused on the Eagles and I wish him well, but I don't care. Like he does what he does, and there's so many people that go out of their way to bash on him and to make it a point and to pile on and add on to what Hurts is and say, oh, Hurts is absolutely, but like. It's irrelevant. Like he's part of the Colts. We have Hurts. We have 3 first-round draft picks. Let's just focus on us. Like it doesn't matter what Carson does. It really doesn't.
My opinion is always the same. Okay, it never swayed. I think the organization didn't set him up to succeed. However, at the end of the day, he has to take his accountability too.
Absolutely.
The relationship is irreparable. Do I think if things were handled differently, he would have been a different guy here? Absolutely. Do I think the talent is there? Absolutely. Do I think it's here? No. And I said back then, before we moved him and when we moved him, and I got in fights with people on here and with a lot of people on here that I said, you got to move the guy. You're at a position now where you have to move the guy. You're not moving the general manager. We knew that. And everybody said, well, it's not the quarterback. You're not moving the general manager. So the quarterback's got to get moved and you got to move forward. Did I want him to go? No. At this point, do I care that he's gone? No. Did I really care by the time it was time to move him? No. I just wanted a resolution and move on. Whether he's the guy or if he's not, whoever it is, Jalen Hurts, or if you're going to buy a year or two with Hurts and then move on to, sign Russell Wilson, whatever you're going to do, just move on. And that's the thing. It's time to move on, guys. It's old news. We don't have to talk about Nick Foles no more. We don't have to talk about handshakes no more. We don't have to talk about Carson Wentz. It is what it is. We now have literally officially severed all of our ties because our only tie to him, we did have a tie to him coming in this year, and that was getting that first-round draft pick. We're good. He did the work for us. He put the work in that everybody said he couldn't do, which is stay healthy and take snaps.
Yep.
So let's be grateful for that. He can sit home and watch us in the playoffs, and we're good. Time to move on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, gentlemen.
He's his own worst enemy, man. Tries to force balls and he shouldn't. It is what it is. Got the pick. No, he's not on books anymore.
Throughout the year, he played good.
His first half was great. His first half of the year was great.
A lot of the games they lost didn't have. I know he threw the one interception early in the middle of the year. Other than that, he didn't cost them any games. And if anybody with any intelligence would know that, you said, Pete, his first half was great despite the losses. He didn't cost them any of those games, other than that one interception he threw. Yeah. But he did lay relevance to the credence that in a big game, he did not show up. And he didn't even need to come up that big in that game against Jacksonville.
I know. Yeah.
And he fell apart. And that's a cross he has to bear, is that stigma is going to stick with him now. And I'm glad it's not our problem.
Yeah. Before we head out, Bill really wanted me to ask this question. How low of a draft pick would you take for Sanders? I would take a 3rd round pick at the lowest. 3rd or 4th. No, I think a 4th. If I would take a 4th round pick for him this year, if you were to promise me that the Eagles would draft Kenneth Walker. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh.
If you promise me we draft Kenneth Walker, then I will trade Miles Sanders for a 4th round pick.
I agree with that.
I am not married to Miles Sanders. No.
I would trade Miles Sanders for a bag of footballs. Call it a day.
You're so disrespectful. So disrespectful. I love you. You're so disrespectful.
See ya. I guess I'll say a 6th-round pick if we're going to put a pick on it. We'll say.
I think realistically there are teams that would give up a 3rd. I really do think there are teams that give up a 3rd. Young guy who's explosive as he is, like arguably one of the most explosive guys. I
think a 4th is. I think a 4th makes sense. Honestly, he hasn't done enough on the football field right now. I'd probably take a 5th.
He's too. No matter how much I defend Sanders, the one thing I will not argue against is that he's too hurt all the time. He's absolutely too hurt all the time. Like all these.
Your other boy, Chucks, will never be the same player again. I don't believe it. Saquon Barkley. There's just too much of an injury history.
Exactly.
More and more that Miles Sanders keeps getting hurt year in and year out, your body don't heal up the same. Doesn't matter how young you are. He keeps getting hurt every year. It's going to be harder and harder for him to have that explosiveness.
And it's crazy because Saquon's had he's had a couple major injuries. Yep. And you can say, like, with Saquon, I've watched, like, if you watch the games against just the Eagles, he's getting chased to the edge. He's getting beat to the edge by Alex Singleton. Yeah. Like, prime Saquon does not lose that foot race. So he's not the same. And then with Miles, he's had a bunch of minor injuries, but there have been so many that it's starting to hamper him.
It's a whole bunch of nicks that lead up to like a major injury, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, I still think Miles is a really good running back. He's not an elite running back. I've never said he's an elite running back, but he's a really good running back talent-wise when he's on the field. I think he's improved every year, but the best ability is durability. And so if you can't stay healthy, I can't trust you. Yep. So I'd give up a 4th for him and draft Kenneth Walker, really. But what I also will say is, take a 5th. That's fine. What I also
I'll take a 6th if I'm getting Kenneth Walker, bitch.
Okay, I'll take a 6th.
I would say a 5th because the injury history alone, he's getting to that point now where other teams are going to look at him and say, I mean, the guy can't stay on the football field.
Yeah. What I also will say
and he talks a lot on Twitter, too, while he's sitting on the sideline.
What I will say is that he's entering his last year of his contract. I also don't have a problem just riding out the last year of his contract. Like a lot of people.
You don't think he's going to try to get an extension in the offseason?
You don't give him one.
Yeah.
So, like, I think he has to know it. He has to prove it next year.
See, the thing for me though, I don't think he does, because just seeing how he is now, I know he's taking a little bit of an accountability. To me, that's a safe face with some of the shit that he said. To me, I feel like he's a guy who feels like he should get that extension already, regardless.
I don't.
And he's going to say, "Well, I have this talent, and I'm young, and this and that." But the reality is, you ain't on the field, and he doesn't have the loyalty to the organization like a Zach Ertz, who I feel like, regardless with Zach Ertz, how it ended up going, he was a professional here this year, professional with the way he handled it. And if Ertz ended up being here after the deadline, I still think he would have considered re-signing here. Yeah. He's the type of guy who has an organizational loyalty there. And he had the history. Miles Sanders doesn't have that. I don't see the loyalty there. So if he doesn't get paid, I could see him making noise.
If Miles really does think he deserves an extension this offseason, then trade him. But if he's willing to do, if you're willing to sit him down and he agrees that he's got to prove it in 2022, then write it out for 2022.
I say
you can't. He's making his rookie contract. He's making pennies. You're paying him pennies. Yeah. So there's no. There are a lot of people that are insistent on getting rid of him or cutting him. That doesn't make sense. He's on a rookie contract. Just play it out. Don't extend him, and get someone else for the year after. But if you get a good enough trade offer, trade him. And
I think he's very expendable, and I think if you get obviously not cut him, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There are people that are like, "Oh, he's going to get cut." Like, why would you cut him? He's on a rookie deal. Why would you cut him?
If you can move him for a 5th round pick, say it.
Yeah.
There you go, Bill. I hope we answered you. He was like, Chucks, read my comment. But we went almost 2.5 hours. That's what happens when we get you back, buddy. That's what happens. We love it. Man. I loved having you back. It's good to have you back. We've been praying for you. Every day. We wish you well. And we are happy to have you back. And the prayers and the thoughts haven't stopped. We're still with you. And if you ever need anything, we're here. And I know a lot of our listeners and viewers sent out their prayers and well wishes to you and your family as well. And so whatever you need, you've always got a home here on Birds of a Feather, brother.
Yeah, let me just real quick tell them. I know, I popped on a show for like an hour at one point over the last 7 months with Tom and them. But just want to kind of reiterate, obviously the circumstances have changed since then, but I'm very touched and blown away by the love and support that we've received. I'm sure most people at this point know, I had to step away to take care of my mother, who was terminally ill, and unfortunately she passed away a couple days before Christmas. So I've been taking that time since then to kind of decompress. But we knew I was going to come back at some point. So I'm easing myself back in because, this is a big commitment that we do here, and it's a lot for me to just jump in. I still got a lot of moving parts in my personal life, and helping my father on different things that we're trying to situate. So you will see me more often. But I want to reiterate to the A2D, got the fam on air, to the fam in our chats all the time who follow, the people that jumped in on my posts or my DMs and sent a lot of really kind words and love and support. I got to say thank you. I'm happy to be back. It feels a little bit like home. It's been a while, so it's going to get me a little used to getting back in. But, you guys have done a phenomenal job on this show, everybody's show. We got a lot of new stuff that's been happening. Like you said, we got a new show that's on before us, which I checked out a little bit of. They're phenomenal. I'm really excited direction A2D's going. And I feel fortunate that people didn't forget about me, because when you go away for 6-7 months with no warning, because you guys remember, my last show wasn't even known because I was coming on the following week. And then I said to you guys, and we didn't even know totally what was going on. I said, like 2 minutes before we had to go on, I was like, guys, I got a bail. I can't do this. I got something, going on with my mother. So anyway, I've had people send me comments and stuff that people have put during shows and screenshots of things. And, the fact that people didn't forget about me and the fact that people always asked and wanted me to come back, it's really touching. I can't say it enough, how warm and comforting it was at a time that we needed a lot of comfort. So I'm happy to be back. I'm thankful for you guys. I appreciate you guys on this show, everybody in our A2D on air family, the guys behind the scenes, and all of you who watch our shows, who follow us, who good, bad, and different arguments, everything. We appreciate you guys. And I personally love you guys and thank you all for your support. So we're coming back. I don't know when Lazy Booking's coming back. That's might be a spot show here and there for a few months, because that's a real big commitment for me once I get that back. Yeah. But I'll start phasing in on here, maybe pop in on a couple other shows when I have some time. So happy to be back with you guys. Hey, I was only going to do 45, 60 minutes, Chucks, and I
you stayed up.
Did the whole show.
2.5 hours.
Did the whole damn show. I had fun. I haven't done this in a while. I was having a lot of fun and with you guys, with the fam out there. So I'm happy to be back. Thanks to Tom, too. I have to say, especially for Tom, because he's stayed in constant contact with me. And you guys, we're a family here. We fight, we argue, we talk shit on each other on different shows, on our shows, and vice versa. But, we're a close-knit family, and he really does keep us a close unit. And, sometimes people can not understand how he is. But I'll tell you, you'll never find a more loyal, more caring guy. And I never doubted it, but I have really found that out through this process. So absolutely. I want you guys to, I want to say thank you to him particularly, and you guys, because I mean, Chucks, you did some nice stuff for us, dropping stuff off and without even asking. So I want you to know, like, you know, you guys are awesome. So I'm touched and blessed. I want to get all that out of the way so that when I come on next time, I don't feel like I have to do this again. Not that I have to do it. I want to do it, but I want to get my long spiel of thank yous out now so we can move forward and just talk sports, because that's what I want to do, guys. I want to come back. I want to talk sports, talk some wrestling when it doesn't annoy the shit out of me, which isn't very much right now. I'm just excited to come back and be one of the guys. So pumped for it. Thank you all again. Love you guys. Go back.
Absolutely.
Love you too, man.
Absolutely. Love you too, Chrome. And it's good to it's great to have you back. You know, it always felt like someone was messing with you because, you know, you're the godfather of the show. Me and you started this out, you know, years ago, and to see where it's come, it's crazy looking back on it, but it's always going to be, you know, it's always going to be a home for you. So you know that I've always got your back. Well, you know, I'm down the street, so you know if you need anything, I'm here.
Yeah, literally.
Really down the street. If those who don't know, we live
11 houses away.
Yeah, we live right down the street from each other, and we live down the street from our high school where we met. So it's kind of ironic.
Yeah.
It's
full circle, man, and obviously Pete too, man. It's a great dynamic on this show, and I love you guys. And I don't even know this. Is Jeff still on?
No, he had medical issues.
He has his things going on. He may pop back in, man. I look at it like this, brother. I mean, A2D got a guardian angel, bro. I'll keep it at that.
And thank you guys for dedicating that show to my mom too. That was
and that's real, man. Like when we say that it's really a family feel and everybody doesn't get along and our personalities isn't the same, it truly, truly is like that. If you guys can see the content chat that we have, it's sometimes it's not pleasant. Everybody takes the lumps.
It's a party.
We fight with the young guys. We fight with each other. But the one thing that everybody has that really is the glue that molds us together is a loyalty.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a loyalty and a genuineness about each other that we really care about each other. So, you know, it's a brotherhood or a sisterhood for some of the ladies that have been a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as long as, you know, at the end of the day, we got each other's back. We talk shit on each other. Don't do it to us, though. Don't talk to our people. And just, you know, it's all about support. So,
absolutely.
Happy to be back with the trio. It's been too long, boys. This was great. And Pete, I'm glad we managed to not tell you.
Yeah.
Assholes.
I saw you smirk when you see me pop in the background, though.
Oh, him?
No, you.
No, you. Can you see when people?
I couldn't see in the background.
I didn't think he can see because he's not. He can't see. Only I can see.
I was sitting in the background, and I could have swore I saw you smirk, like you saw me pop up. It was like 5 seconds after I popped on. I was like, oh, he must have seen me. So I was trying to keep like a straight face. But like, yeah. Anyway, I'm glad we were able to surprise you. It was fun.
Absolutely. And Pete, just to make you feel better, I just found out today. So
okay,
it wasn't.
Is that when you text me?
Okay.
This is how out of the loop I am. I didn't even know that you guys produce the show yourselves anymore. I was like, I text Tom like, who's producing the show? He's like, oh, they do it themselves. I'm like, oh my. I mean, and you know how close knit we are usually. Like we communicate about everything. I've been so far removed. Yeah. And I haven't seen anything. So my plan was like, I don't know if it was Proto or Frank. I was going to be like, hey, don't tell them I'm coming on. But Tom's like, no, they do it themselves. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to tell somebody I'm coming on.
So I need somebody to send me the link.
That's what I said. Don't tell Pete. Just send it to me.
Yeah.
Assholes. It's definitely is a pleasant surprise, man. Like Chuck says, we talk about it a lot. We can maintain with the 2 of us, 3 of us. When we first started, it was 4, you know, but this 3 here, and like Chuck says, is like sometimes we do agree a lot on a lot of shit. So your opinion and your presence is welcome, sir.
Yeah, we need to change. We need to change that dynamic.
Yes, we do.
Hill Chrome needs to come back.
It's nice to have someone. It's nice to have someone agree with me a lot. With Pete, see eye to eye, but for a show wise, it's like sometimes it's a sleeper. Sometimes it's just like. This is boring. Like I need someone.
Well, Heel Chrome is back, and I'm ready to stir shit up. Let's go.
It's gonna be awesome. So anyone who's still listening, still viewing, or anyone that did listen in to this show, it was a great show. I knew it was gonna be an awesome show. But you know, we thank you, all our fam out there. Thank you.
Don, don't be fucking around, Don. You just said that a couple times tonight.
Y'all be the fourth.
He trying to sit that in there. He's because he mentioned that he's like he said we will be back or great show or something like that. Like, listen, man, the opportunity is always there, brother.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know who to call. You know who to call if you will ever want to really consider. But
yes,
to all of our fans out there, all the family, to our sponsors who are holding it down for us and supporting us, thank you. Shout out to our main sponsor, FanUp. Make sure you guys subscribe, get on that platform. It's a great way for fantasy football and all of that. But from me, your boy Chucks, Evans, Mr. Pete Evans, and Chrome, Mr. I'm back, baby. We wish you
that you said that the right way, sir. I'm very shocked.
We wish you a really fun and wild card weekend. And go Birds, fly Eagles, fly. Be safe. God bless. And we'll see you next week. Peace out, guys.